Hi, I'm Jeremy Crosby.
And I'm Nick Boucher. We're your hosts for the program that's all about your city, Talking Fitchburg.
Every weekday, we pull together the news, events, and information you need to stay on top of what's happening in the city of Fitchburg.
Find Talking Fitchburg on cable TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and our live stream on the web. Plus, you can find all our headlines and stories on Facebook, YouTube, and our video on demand service. This is your city.
Keep up with Talking Fitchburg and the issues affecting you and your neighbors.
Get connected, Fitchburg. We're launching Fitchburg Connect, the city's new monthly e-newsletter that keeps you informed about all the events, services, and updates that matter to you. Get it in your inbox once a month. Sign up today to get Fitchburg Connect.
Everyone to the Fitchburg Common Council for June 9, 2026 meeting. The first thing is to call to the order on the meeting, and please stand up for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Next roll call, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Radafrada.
Here.
Alder Dancer Jr.
Here.
Alder Gerhardt.
Here.
Alder Herbst is absent with excuse. Alder Jetzer.
Here.
Alder Lattice.
Here.
Alder Lepper.
Here.
Alder Maldonado.
Here.
Alder Ragsted.
Here.
We do have a quorum, Mayor.
Thank you. Next, we move to item 4, is public appearances for non-agenda items and new appointments. And we have a couple of mayoral proclamations, and we will start proclaiming June 2026 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the city of Fitchburg.
Whereas the city of Fitchburg recognizes the importance of equality and freedom for all residents and values the diversity of our community, including our LGBTQ+ residents who contribute significantly to the cultural, civic, and economic vibrancy of our city. And
whereas June was chosen as National Pride Month to commemorate the 1969 protests and demonstrations in response to raids at the Stonewall Inn in New York's Greenwich Village. And
whereas Pride Month serves as a time for the LGBTQ+ people and allies to celebrate identity, visibility, resilience, and community, while also recognizing the continued work toward equity and justice. And
whereas the city of Fitchburg is committed to fostering an inclusive and welcoming environment that supports the dignity, safety, and rights of all residents, regardless of sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. And
whereas Fitchburg is strengthened by the diversity of ethnic, cultural, racial, gender, and sexual identities of its residents and business community members, all of which contribute to the character, talent, leadership, and vitality of our city. And
whereas despite decades of progress toward equality and inclusion, LGBTQ+ people, particularly transgender and non-binary individuals, and LGBTQ+ youth, continue to face discrimination, harassment, violence, barriers to health care, censorship, and efforts to restrict their civil rights and full participation in public life.
Whereas recent state and federal actions and proposals seeking to limit protections for LGBTQ+ people, including access to affirming health care, inclusive education, public accommodations, and legal protections, have created fear and uncertainty for many members of our community. And
whereas the city of Fitchburg believes every person deserves to live safely, openly, and authentically, and reaffirms its commitment to fostering a community where LGBTQ+ residents are respected, protected, welcomed, and empowered to thrive. And
whereas the city of Fitchburg recognizes that affirming LGBTQ+ residents strengthens the social, cultural, civic, and economic fabric of our entire community and contributes to a more just, healthy, and vibrant city for all.
So now, is it me? Now therefore be it resolved that I, Julia Ratafrata, Mayor of the City of Fitchburg, along with the Common Council, do hereby proclaim the month of June 2026 as LGBTQ+ Pride Month in the City of Fitchburg, and encourage all residents celebrate the diversity of our community and to actively foster a culture of dignity, belonging, safety, and inclusion for LGBTQ+ residents. This is proclaimed today, June 9, 2026. So we're going to take the picture. Can you have it flag for the flag? So the next proclamation is honoring June 19, 2026 as Juneteenth Celebration Day.
Whereas Juneteenth, observed annually on June 19th, commemorates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans in the United States and stands as a powerful celebration of freedom, resilience, liberation, and Black cultural heritage. And
Whereas Juneteenth marks the day in 1865 when enslaved people in Galveston, Texas, learned of their freedom more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, reminding us that freedom and justice have not always been equally or immediately realized for all people. And
Whereas Juneteenth is a time to reflect on the enduring struggles, achievements, and contributions of Black Americans whose labor, leadership, creativity, and advocacy have profoundly shaped our community, state, and nation. And
Whereas the city of Fitchburg recognizes the importance of honoring and uplifting Black history as an essential part of our shared history and acknowledges the ongoing work required to advance racial equity, justice, and opportunity for all. And
whereas, despite progress made throughout our nation's history, racial inequities and systemic barriers continue to impact Black communities in areas including education, healthcare, housing, economic opportunity, public safety, and civic participation. And
whereas efforts to diminish, censor, or erase the teaching and acknowledgement of Black history and the significance of Juneteenth undermine our collective understanding of our nation's history and our responsibility to learn from it. And
whereas the city of Fitchburg remains committed to fostering a community rooted in dignity, belonging, equity, inclusion, where all residents are valued, and where the histories and experiences of historically marginalized communities are recognized and respected. And
whereas Juneteenth provides an opportunity for all residents to come together in reflection, education, celebration, and action toward building a more just, equitable, and united community.
So now, therefore, I, Julia Arata Frata, Mayor of the City of Fitchburg, along with the Fitchburg City Common Council, do hereby proclaim Thursday, June 19, as Juneteenth Day in Fitchburg and call upon all residents to observe this day with respect, reflection, and a renewed dedication to justice and equality. Let us acknowledge the resilience of those who have fought for freedom and affirm our shared responsibility to build a future where liberty and human rights are upheld for all. This is proclaimed today, June 9, 2026. Okay, so
Everybody together. Here we go.
good? All right, there we go. I'll just say thank you for the city again for acknowledging Juneteenth and bringing this proclamation to the city. I hope everyone can join for the flag raising that will take place on next week, Wednesday at 3:30 following the event, and come hear some more words and fellowship with some of the residents that will be and coming out to celebrate the flag raising. So thank you.
So next we're moving to 4B is mayoral appointments, and I have 2 reappointments, so we're going to do it one. So the first one is reappointment of Olivia Perry to the Housing Advisory Committee. Her term will expire on April 17, 2029.
move to appoint.
second.
Any question, comments? All those in favor of appointing Olivia Perry to the Housing Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. The next one is to reappointed Brian Sheeman to the Housing Advisory Committee. His term will expire April 17, 2029.
Move approval.
Second.
Any question, comments? Here none. All those in favor of appointing Brian Sheeman to the Housing Advisory Committee, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next we are moving to 4C, and I will open a public hearing on Ordinance 2026-0-09 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0126, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan for property located on Ski Lane in Section 35, City of Fitchburg in Dane County, Wisconsin, Lots 1 and 3 of CSM 15797 from business to medium-high density residential. So I'm going to open the public hearing, and we have a couple of people. We have a couple of people in that wanted to speak. This one is this one. So I'm going to call David Haight. He wants to speak. I don't know, David, in opposition, in favor.
David Haight, 5855 Woods Edge Road, and I'm in opposition. So there are a number of deficiencies in the Fitchburg Comprehensive Plan, which makes it an invalid comprehensive plan. It says the contents 66101 sub 2 says the comprehensive plan for Wisconsin City shall contain all of the following elements and the documents that are those documents: issues and opportunities, housing, transportation, utilities, agriculture, economic development element, intergovernmental cooperation element, land use element. These documents are adopted not into the comprehensive plan, they're adopted as associated documents. They're required to be in the comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan gets its teeth by these things being in the comprehensive plan. If they're not there and they exist in the city, that's a damning indictment of the process by which the comprehensive plan is managed in the city. Second, with regard to all these things, these elements are all required to be updated to reflect the conditions in the city. Traffic elements, amount of parks, land use, etc. There hasn't been an update. In fact, I challenge any one of you to get a hold of a comprehensive plan. They're all amendments scattered all over. How can you even look at them? It's not comprehensive at all. And then it says that the council shall adopt written procedures that are designed to foster public participation, et cetera, et cetera. Adopt in the context of the Common Council means a legislative act. Resolution, ordinance. No such things. These things didn't exist and they didn't happen. There was no opportunity to write to you guys and ask for your response. So that's completely missing in every amendment. And then it says that the only people who can gatekeep an amendment, a proposed amendment to the comprehensive plan, despite the fact that it says it shall be the function and duty of the Plan Commission to make and adopt the master plan, which is the basis of the comprehensive plan, and amendments thereto. And then the rest of it all talks about how the Plan Commission may do this, it may do that, as it chooses. And yet you take and put in a document that's simply a recommendation document with the exception of the comprehensive plan compatibility requirements in 3, and say that that gives you the opportunity to intervene and directly contravene state statutes. Where's the opinion of the city attorney on this? Where? And if you're an alder, you have no function outside of this body. So who gave you? Find it in the city statutes.
David, your time is out.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And then Tom Jacobs and Javier Neira, they are the developers. I don't know, you want to? Oh, maybe you can come when we discuss. Okay. During the action item. Okay, sorry, guys. Okay, anyone else want to speak on this public hearing? Here none, I am closing the public hearing. Okay, so this one we're going to keep here. So next, I will open another public hearing for an ordinance 2026-010, and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0226, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map for a property located off of Lacey Road and Fahey Glen in Section 15, City of Fitchburg in Dane County, Wisconsin, from mixed use and low-density residential to medium-high density residential. We have a couple of people that they want to speak and share their opinion. So where are those here? Okay, so I will now be calling you to the microphone, please. Okay, I will call Ed Dashud. He wishes to speak in opposition. I'm sorry if I pronounce your last name incorrectly.
It's been done.
Huh?
It's been mispronounced before.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's not me. Okay. Okay, Ed, go ahead.
I'm Ed Dashkin. I'm a resident at the crossing, and I guess I'm opposed to the number of units that they wish to put on that small piece of property, and how it will reflect in the traffic and many other things besides the fact that they first talked about these being units that were going to be owned, and then they said, well, they're probably going to be rented to own, which means they're going to be rentals. Because you come in and you let a developer come in and say, well, this is what we want, that's why we're going to buy this property and what we want to do. But the developer comes in there with money from some conglomerate company to invest, build the units, and in 5 years, take the equity and leave, and they could care less about the property. We're stuck with that. The city's stuck with that. And we're stuck with what comes out of it. They always get parking. They're going to have underground parking for probably 1 parking space per unit. And every unit's going to have 2 cars, maybe 3. We're going to have problems with parking on the roads. We're going to have problems with traffic. And we're going to have problems with people who are not quite into the community like the most of us residents who have been here for quite a while. That's probably something that maybe you've heard before, but just a reminder. There's not much else I can say about it. And I don't know whether that's going to stop this or not, but I felt I had to say something.
Okay. Thank you very much. So next is Patrick Cheney. He wishes to speak in support.
As a steering committee member for the North McGaw Park Neighborhood Master Plan of 2009, this is my copy. From the early 2000s, I clearly remember this wider area had only 4 houses in 60 acres, which still exist. David Olson's house in what is now the Crossing, Joe Reedon and Janie Lionel were in the houses on Lacey Road, and Dr. Shanahan's house in the middle of what is now Waterford Glen. This was all wide open field, an extremely low density rural area, wooded plus pasture land. Given that very low density, it was difficult to see higher density here at that time. Now, the crossing is high density approved, but built as low density, the difference being 2 large ponds. And these condos front on Lacey Road. Waterford Glen is built as 3.6 units per acre. The 1855 site to the south is expected to as 2.5 per acre, both in a 2 to 5 density range. To the east side, Lacey Ridge townhomes are 13 units per acre, immediately next to here, very comparable. This site fronts and has very close access to Lacey Road. What better location for higher density? Look at the approved master plan in here. all internal sites being R1 and R2 on local urban roads. A new medium-high density level choice did not exist then as an option. Lacey Road was later rebuilt without parking lanes, impractical for a mixed-use retail designation. This is too much concern and worry on a rough draft early version example building layout. Too much concern on traffic while ignoring how Quarry Hill Drive will connect, and Notre Dame, a McGaw Park frontage road, will connect, sharing traffic access to all housing at the south of here. More housing units in a well-designed site provide more housing. Simple as that. Basic development costs spread over more units keeps price points affordable. Less units and density likely is less affordable to still cover these same base costs. I asked and verified with our planning director, this is a singular question on a density range level only. Stop gnashing on the buildings map. It can and will change. GIP and SIP steps will be clearer and better. At Plan Commission, this failed by one vote with one member absent, failed on 3-2. Administration and council push for more housing and infill, perfect for this proposal. Pass this now, refers these agenda items back to a full Plan Commission for their reconsideration.
Thank you, Patrick. So next I am calling Waze Wiggle. He wishes to speak in opposition.
I came to the Planning Commission meeting, I guess, a month or so ago. But, you know, this development, I live on the corner of Quarry Hill Drive and Fahey Glen. And, you know what? Fahey Glen's got a beautiful landscape, backyards of pine trees from one end to the other. We have about 70 units in Waterford Glen. They're all home-owned. The Crossings is ownership. Everything to the south of Waterford Glen. You know, there's a lot of beautiful homes there, some even up to $1 million. And then they got housing back there that's close to Irish Fields. And I just contend that Irish Fields in that area there, what you've got going on at Cyene, Highway 14, Lacey, tremendous growth of apartments behind Fahey, or that property we're talking about from Fahey to Lacey. It's just improper to think about 64, 40 units. It should be privately held homes. I know they put in 13 units off Notre Dame over there. I don't know how many of those they've sold. Maybe they've sold 10 out of the 13 in two plus years. But it's only proper. What's going on in that neighborhood is home owned, and their homes. I live in a duplex, corner duplex, and I'm fine with anything that's ownership homes. I don't want to see a 3-story townhome like we already have behind us to the east. I just don't think it's proper. And you look at what is in and around that area, there's a time and a place, and I'm talking about the place being Cyene, 14, Lacey, tremendous growth. Keep building there. If you want to keep building Irish Fields down to Irish Lane, do that. But do not put it right behind us. Thank you.
Thank you. So next I am calling back David Haight. He wishes to speak, I don't know, I assume in opposition?
David Haight, 5855 Woods Edge Road. So I've gone over the process a little bit, and this is one of these where the process is, the words are important. Okay, so we had gatekeeping on this one by the mayor and some alders, and so this happens out of the sight of anyone. What's the criteria by which you operate? You know, there's a Wisconsin Supreme Court precedent, Van Camp versus Village of Little Chute, where the mayor was given the power to close a tavern. And the Wisconsin Supreme Court said, can't do that. Unlawful delegation of legislative authority. There's no standards. Well, where are the standards for the sponsorship? That's gatekeeping in front of the lawful body that's supposed to be representing all our community. and putting together a comprehensive plan. Not the developer comes with a plan for ultra-high density, and somehow it gets the following. This is what is required for it to be approved. The city master plan shall be made with the general purpose of guiding and accomplishing a coordinated, adjusted, and harmonious development of the Wisconsin city, which will, in accordance with existing and future needs, best promote public health, safety, morals, order, convenience, prosperity, or the general welfare, as well as efficiency and economy in the process of development of the city. Now, when the gatekeepers were gatekeeping, is this what you thought about? Did you think about every one of these? And if you did, what was your criteria? How did you assess that it was the best in all of those? None of the stuff is in the comprehensive plan. No traffic impacts, no park impacts, no water quality impacts, no other land use impacts. So how are you making these decisions? Aside from the fact that it's completely unlawful for alders to step in and gatekeep in a role that is in front of an administrative procedure. That's a real problem with regard to separation of powers. The people in Washington who like autocracy would love this kind of situation. So here we sit. We have now a massive change with nothing backing up an analysis of why it's the best in all these categories, how it's going to affect all these instances. What are we going to do? So where is this? Where's this coming from? Send it back, vote it down, do your duty. If there's not a law that allows this to happen, then you shouldn't be voting for it. Who's going to step up and ask the city attorney for an opinion? I'm sending a request to each one of you. Who's going to forward it? It's her job to opine on these things to you so that you may comply with your oath of office to follow the law. Thank you.
Thank you. And also we received a couple of registration in support. Domershausen, he registered only in support. Dennis Moore, he also registered in support. Karen Lawrence, also in support. Peter Bernin, in support. Do I have anyone else in the chamber who wishes to speak on this? Who is? Oh, yes, Sam Cook. Okay, go ahead. Sam? Hello, can you hear me? Hello, Sam? Hello? Okay. Maybe he will be able to speak on the action item. Okay, so now I am closing the public hearing. Okay, so next we move to item 5, is the consent agenda.
Move approval.
Second.
Any question, comments? We are also approving all the D, Public Safety and Human Services. Okay. All those in favor of the consent agenda say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. So next we move to item 6, Administrator Report.
Good evening, everyone. We'll start with the events of note. Tomorrow, June 10th at 4 p.m., the J.T. Klein project, Oak Ridge Senior Housing, will be a groundbreaking at the location of the project on Nesbitt Road. Popsicles in the Park is happening Thursday, June 11th from 4:30 to 6 at Hugo Jamestown Park. June 15th, next Monday, is the first concert at McKee for the season. The city, specifically Senior Center, will be hosting a Juneteenth event on June 17th from 1 to 3 p.m. at the Community Center. And as mentioned previously, there'll be a flag raising at 3:30 p.m. following the presentation and celebration. The city will be updating its phone system on June 18th. We anticipate a brief period of time when the public may be unable to dial into city phone numbers. Additional information will be shared publicly as we get closer to June 18th, but I at least wanted to let the Common Council and community know that that was forthcoming. The 2026 street resurfacing project is underway, and Payne and Dolan has begun that work up in northwest Fitchburg. The comprehensive plan update, the comprehensive plan and zoning code update, the contract has been finalized with the selected vendor, and you should see that at the upcoming Plan Commission next week and Common Council meeting on June 8th for your consideration. The Wayland Road Bike Lane project and the 2026 sidewalk replacement projects are all anticipated to begin next month. I also want to let the Common Council and Committee know that the FACTv now has a mobile app. You can download that app wherever you get your apps from, depending upon the operating system for your device. And then finally, I do want to obviously acknowledge the inconvenience associated with the repairs at the splash pad recently, but I do want to acknowledge the work done by our parks maintenance team to get those repairs done as quickly and as timely as possible. So appreciate everyone's patience while that happened, and also thanks to the park maintenance team for completing that work. Any questions for me?
Could you just clarify the date that the comp plan was coming back?
Yeah, that should be an action item for the Common Council on the June 23rd meeting.
Great, thanks.
Oh, what did I say? 19th? Oh, sorry about that.
Any question for Chad? Okay, so next we move to the mayor's reports, and I have a couple of things that I want to share with you. So my proposed 2027-2036 capital improvement plan is out there, and an email was sent to the Common Council. I will do my presentation on the June 22nd at 5:30 p.m. I want to present what are my priorities in that plan. So also the public hearing for the CIP will be June 23rd, and the council approval for final approval will be July 28th. If you have any question about the CIP, please reach out to me. And council member, you need to work on the amendments. I don't remember which day is the deadline, but I think it's July 6th. Yeah. So, okay. So the other thing I want to mention that I attended and welcomed the Yahara House Pickleball Mental Health fundraising event on May 30th. It was great to see so many participants for this great cause. And also I have been attending some of the Pickles and Beer event every Friday at Mago Park. And I want to say that that event attracts more than 100 people from everywhere. There are people even from Janesville coming to play here. So I want to thank the CAPA people, especially Erin, for organizing this gathering every Friday. Also, last Friday, we raised the pride flag, and I want to thank everyone who attended, and also to our HR department who organized this event. Also, people are, enjoying our parks and our parks amenity. And I want to repeat again, please keep it clean when you leave. So, and a couple of next events you already, Chad, mentioned. The other thing I want to share with you that the library is celebrating 15 years. On June 27, it's going to be an event organized by the Friends of the Fitchburg Library. It is called Books and Brews, a birthday bash. It's going to be from 7 to 9 o'clock, so everyone is, it's a ticket event, so in support of the library. So. The other thing I want to mention, and I share with the Common Council, is the listening session with the mayors are back. Our first one is going to be June 29, and it's going to be in District 4. At 6 o'clock, it's going to be, we're going to hold a meeting on the fire station number 1. So everyone is invited to participate. You don't have to live in District 4, but it's going to be targeted more to that district. So I want to ask the Common Council to please, if you can promote those events in your social media platform, it will be great. So again, the first one is June 29. It's a Monday from 4 to 6 at fire station number 1. And finally, I want to make it's a sad comment. Yesterday, we mourned the passing of Michael Johnson. He was a dedicated community leader whose impact will be felt for many years to come. Michael's work with the Boys and Girls Club changed countless lives by creating opportunities, support, and hope for young people and families. Through his involvement with the Mackenzie Training Center and his broader service to the community, he helped open doors and strengthen families across Fitchburg. So many Fitchburg families have been touched by Michael's compassion, leadership, and commitment to helping others. His legacy will live on through the people he mentored, supported, and inspired. On behalf of the City of Fitchburg, the Mayor, and the Common Council and staff, I extend my heartfelt condolence to Michael's family, friends, colleagues, and all those who love him. He will be deeply missed. It was ironic because I was 2 weeks ago, I was working with Michael in a project, an event that is supposed to come to Fitchburg. I don't know what is going to happen in July. So it was kind of, for me, it was very shocking when I learned about his passing yesterday. So that's it. Any question for me? Comments? Okay. So next.
Do you want to take the 2 Planning Commission items first, and then since there are people here, then we'll do the police and the Bowman agreement?
Okay.
Okay, Mayor, I'd like to amend the agenda now.
Okay.
So after the Plan Commission, which we'll do first, I'd like to move item 11A1, which is the Bowman Plaza resolution, first after that, and then following the Bowman Plaza one, move up
9C.
the public, 9C, the public safety discussion.
Second.
Okay. Any comments, question? All those in favor of moving up these items after Plan Commission report, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay.
So first up, for Plan Commission, I'll remove approval of Ordinance 2026-009 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0126, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan Map for properties located off Ski Lane in Section 35, City of Fitchburg in Dane County, Wisconsin, lots 1 and 3 of CSM 15797, from BOS Business to MHDR Medium High Density Residential, and Plan Commission passed this.
Second.
Okay. Can you tell us what it is and what we are doing here?
Yeah, so this is a minor comp plan amendment, so just to orient everybody, this is just changing the future land use. This is not a rezone, this is not an approval of a project, but it is prompted by a project that is actually in existence. So this is in Southdale. It is like along Ski Lane. There is this strip of land. Right now it's business. There's actually like 2 pieces, and there's actually a residential home in between the 2 pieces of land that are connected at the back. The proposal that's coming forward is to bring home ownership opportunities to that area, and with the goal of having affordable home ownership. But the goal is owner occupied. It could be something like a cottage court model versus, having a traditional, just the houses fronting the street. But that remains to be seen. It will likely be a planned development district. And the single family home in the middle is going to stay. So a little bit unusual, but it works. And that's the general site. Obviously, there's a lot more steps between now and then, but this is just the change to the future land use. This is not approval of the project to medium high density residential.
I will call Tom Jacobs and Javier Neira. They are the developers. Do you want to add anything else or answer a question?
We're just here to answer.
Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Okay. I am open for questions. Yeah.
No questions, but Alder Dantzler and I met with Javier a few months ago, and it's a really cool project, and I know we're not talking about the project itself, but I generally support the increase in density, I think, to make us a more walkable, bikeable city and to meet the needs for housing. I generally support this, particularly in this area, so that's my comment.
Thank you. Anyone else? Logan.
Question for, I guess, for staff. I don't know if Deanna's here. Oh, I see Deanna hiding in the back. She knew I was going to have questions. Just based on my back of napkin math, I'm hoping you can confirm the total or the minimum and maximum number of units that would be allowed under medium high. So I calculated this at 1.56 acres, so about 14 to 31 dwelling units total across this site. Is that roughly correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. One thing, I had a conversation with a couple folks who live immediately to the north of this site, and one of the things that they were most concerned about was the loss of trees. There's kind of an interesting, very narrow, skinny parcel immediately between Lot 1 and the condos to the north. So those folks were concerned that those trees could be impacted by the construction. Is that something that, as we look at more concrete plans, is that something that would be included in a tree survey or any future considerations of once we get to the site plan process?
Yes, of course. Once we go into the site plan process, we will have consideration of the trees. Under our current code, under our current subdivision ordinance, there isn't a specific requirement to do a tree survey for this project, likely. But we can certainly work with the developers on protecting as many trees as we can.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Okay, here none. All those in favor of Ordinance 2026-009 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0126, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I move approval of Ordinance 20. Oh, sorry. I actually moved to re-refer to Plan Commission Ordinance 2026-010 and Plan Commission Resolution PCR 0226, adopting and recommending the Spring 2026 amendment to the Comprehensive Plan, amending Map 4.3 Future Land Use Plan map for property located off Lacey Road in Fahey Glen in Section 15, City of Fitchburg, in Dane County, Wisconsin, from MU mixed use to an LDR low density residential to MDHR medium high density residential, and postpone action for the council to our next council meeting on June 23rd.
Second.
Okay. Any question, comment?
So I can explain a little bit about the project if that's, obviously we had public comment on it.
There is no project. There is.
This is a minor comp plan amendment again, so this is just changing the future land use. It does not approve the project. It doesn't rezone. There's a ton of steps from here to now, but it is obviously inspired by a particular project. The project that was proposed at the Plan Commission meeting a couple weeks back was 64 townhomes, residential, and it's done by the developer that is working in Terravesa, and they do a lot of rental townhomes that then can be turned into ownership. They're basically a rent to own because it's almost impossible to build ownership townhomes and condos because of the federal legislation. So that's how they get around that and provide some ownership without it, but it starts as rentals. But yeah, so the original was like a lot of mixed use, and so like there were some ideas about having some small local businesses. That's been around for a long time. We've seen no progress on getting any proposals in that regard, and that's a little bit due to the market. And so I think the Plan Commission they wanted the mixed use, I guess is what that would be my assessment of what the conversation centered on. And it ended up failing on a split vote. So not everyone was there at the Plan Commission meeting. And then also since then, the developer I know has redesigned the site plan, the initial site plan that was a little bit different, slightly lower density for consideration based on some of the feedback that was received in both the Plan Commission meeting. So hence the re-referral to Plan Commission to consider a slightly different version of the project and see if the outcome would change.
Okay, thank you. Micah.
I know we're just voting on land use and re-referring this back, but can we ask a question of about just a high-level overview of what the updated plans would be?
No. Yeah, if you want. Okay. Yeah, we can ask.
I
But
mean,
we are
this is the
we're not
question.
supposed to discuss this. You know, we are looking at the future land use. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, but it's future land use based on a plan that is brought
Right.
before the,
Okay.
this is the question that everyone is asking
okay, we
about.
can invite Sherry. You okay?
Hi, Mike.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, could you just give us just it doesn't need to be super detailed, just a kind of a high-level overview of what changes you've made from the initial plan that was presented at the public meeting?
Yeah, so we definitely hear all the comments that we have been receiving from Plan Commission and residents in the surrounding neighborhood. And I would say just from a high level, we have redistribution of density, especially away from the west corridor and the south corridor. And then we introduced the lower density segment into the design, and we reduced the density, and we also have more emphasis on parking and community green space. So I think it's pretty much all the aspects that we have been hearing that we are working on improvements to address, I would say, most of the concerns or feedbacks we've been getting.
Okay, and what is the parking changes that you made?
So we introduced the visitor parking, and we introduced the ratio of how many parkings. I think we are very confident there's not going to be any overflow in terms of parking into the street.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other question, comment? Since Sherry's here, okay, Logan.
I just have one comment, not directly related, but I just wanted to say, to expand on something Alder Gerhardt said about the rent-to-own model. There was an interesting article in the Cap Times today I'd encourage folks to read about the challenges with building multifamily housing that is owner-occupied. Since that came up during public comment, I just wanted to say that is a good explanation of why we're not seeing condos built and really haven't since the Great Recession. And a lot of it comes down to federal financing changes and things, pre-selling certain numbers of units before they can even break ground. So there's a reason why the rent-to-own model exists. I think it's a bummer as somebody who lives in a condo, but that is a macro-level discussion far beyond this specific project. But since the topic came up of ownership, I just wanted to make sure that folks who are interested are able to add that to their reading list for the evening and just kind of understand a little bit more the challenges that go into directly selling units versus renting them for a couple of years and then selling them, as we've seen elsewhere in the city as well.
Okay, thank you. Who else? No? Okay, so what it was on?
I was to re-refer to Plan Commission and delay council action till the June
Okay.
23rd meeting.
Okay, so all those in favor of deferring this ordinance PCR to Plan Commission, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carry. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sherry, for coming.
Thank you, everyone.
So now we are moving, what, 11A1?
Yes. Bowman Plaza.
Okay, where is 1101? Is under which is direct?
Finance.
Referral finance, okay. Can you do it? Oh, Micah, sorry, Gabriel.
Oh, this is
Micah.
me. Thank you. I will move approval of Resolution R-11926, amended and restated development agreement between the City of Fitchburg and Bowman Plaza LLC.
Second.
And finance deferred to council.
Okay, so Michael, you're going to tell us what it is?
Sure. Good evening, Council and Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to bring this amended and restated development agreement for the Bowman Plaza redevelopment project forward. As you know, we had a developer bond last year at $5.65 million for the project, with 5 floors of apartments and commercial space over 2 floors of structured and underground parking. Since the time of the approval of that MRO developer bond, costs have increased significantly to $77 million from $70 million. And so the developer came forward to us with two options. One was to scale back the scope of the project or revisit the TIF analysis to see if we could run the numbers to increase our support. In discussions with the mayor, plan commission members, staff, administration, we decided we wanted to keep this capstone project. Fish Hatchery Road and the redevelopment at that site warrants this level of redevelopment. We were able to work with the developer, Ned Hoyt from Ragtag Ventures, and Ellers on the analysis to come up with cash flow that can support the $7 million. The increased costs are due to not only construction costs, labor costs that are experiencing with projects all around the region and the country here, but also because of the unique aspects of the 5/2 construction and the new building code that was updated as well. So you've got the Ellers analysis, and we have, I think Ned is out here in the audience if you have specific questions for him as far as the increase in extraordinary costs. And online we have Shane Rudlin from Ellers with us tonight to answer any questions on the Ellers analysis and the memo. But we would appreciate your support for this. Again, this would be a signature capstone project, tallest building in Fitchburg, and the Fish Hatchery Road corridor, not only with the traffic counts, but with bus rapid transit. Really, this is the location to go forward with this level of density and mixed-use project.
Thank you, Mike. Will Shane do a presentation or?
Easier to answer questions, or he can give an overview if you want.
Okay,
of the
Shane,
Ellers.
Shane, can you do an overview with the revised numbers?
Yeah, happy to. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Great. Yeah, so thanks for having me tonight. I think the summary that was just presented accurately summarizes the situation. As you know, we did an analysis before. Costs have gone up as the developer has continued to refine their plan. Saving a change in the plan in order to keep the 5/2 requires a bit more subsidy in order to make the project financeable. And I will note that the returns have actually gone down with this revised pro forma based on where we were before. So even though the subsidy amount is going to increase because of the additional costs, the cash on cash and internal rate of return are actually lower. It is a graduated TIF commitment, meaning there's a 90% committed for some years, then 75, then 60, then 50. It would be 15 years of total payments, or up to 15 years, kicking off in 2042. There are some look-back provisions in the development agreement as well. Again, there's a look-back in the event of a sale based at a 15% internal rate of return. And if that threshold is exceeded, then the look-back kicks in. There's also a look-back on actual project costs to verify that the project's actually going to cost, this higher amount that's been represented. And so you've got some good look-backs and public accountability there. So, we did the full financial analysis again on it. You have a memo in the packet, and if there's any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Oh, thank you. Okay, questions, comments? Well, I think this is great that we are continue with this project. And I'm very supportive of the revised TIF. As Mike mentioned, this is a great location for this building.
Yes.
So, Bill.
Just one thing in the resolution, the second whereas clause says that it's roughly 250 market rate units. It's really, that's like 10% too low, right? It's like 276. Did we want to true that up to reality?
I think it says approximately.
Yeah.
Approximately is good enough.
Approximately.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question, comments, Gabriela?
Yeah, I support this. And I just want to make a comment generally, too, because there was a comment before about developers coming in from the outside and like just dumping money into Fitchburg. The developers we work with in the city of Fitchburg are wonderful. They're often local. They have roots in the local community. Sometimes actually live in Fitchburg. Many of them actually live in Fitchburg, have offices in Fitchburg, and this Ragtag Ventures has been one of those that has built tons in Fitchburg, really high quality products, and really confident about this. And that definitely, I think this would be worthwhile, even if it wasn't them, but the fact that it's a partner that really has worked well with the community makes it an easier yes for me.
Thank you. Logan.
Ned, I hope I'm not going to dox you here, but I know to Alder Gerhardt's point that multiple employees live in your recent buildings. So not going to build something that they wouldn't want to live in themselves. So I just want to call that point out for the good of the order here. I did just want to ask, if this were not approved and the alternative is cutting off a story of apartments, would this still be the tallest building in Fitchburg? I've seen that headline so many times that have we backed ourselves into a corner here?
I'm not sure if we would knock off one, if it still would be there, because I think we've got the building over in Southdale, the Quartz building there, that is 4 or 5 stories over there. Yeah, so I think it might still be close there. Yeah, but we want to go big. We want the 5/2.
And I'll wrap up by just saying I thought it was interesting that a couple council meetings ago, when this development was before us, there was pretty good support for this, even from what I remember, folks who are not always necessarily the highest proponents of density. So I think there's a recognition that this is a place to go big, as others have mentioned this evening. So.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Since the amount of money is high, so we're going to ask roll call.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Dancer Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhardt.
Aye.
Alder Herbst is absent. Alder Jetzer.
Aye.
Alder Latase.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Aye.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Ragsted.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we are on 9C, the police department. Where is this? Thank you guys for waiting. It's on the Public Safety and Human Services. And I invited the Chief Morale and his team to share with us some of the new changes in services in the police department. So, and in case that we have additional questions and comments, okay? So, so we are going to discuss on recent police operation response, and this is only discussion, no action taken, okay? So, okay, thank you.
Hello, everyone. I brought some of our staff members here for you to meet. Deputy Chief Matt Leahy, Lieutenant Logan Brown, and Detective Sergeant Ariana Ridgely. I want you to look at the people that are here, because some of you have been here for as long as or longer than I've been here, and it's not the same people. And some of you have been here shortly, and we're not the same people. And maybe next year you come here and we're not going to be the same people. And I mean that because there's a lot that goes on downstairs. We try to communicate as best as we can with you all. We have, if you have seen, we'll try to get you all individually to kind of let you know what's going on, projects that we have going on, and sometimes we fall short of that, but it's not for lack of trying. There's just a lot of moving parts. So I'm going to start with you with some history, since some of you are fairly new to the council, to give you a little background on what we've been trying to do the last 5 years and where we're at today. It's a constant challenge. But staffing challenges with the police department over the past year have been well documented and are not unexpected. That's a constant. As chief, it's my responsibility to identify ways to ensure the organization operates efficiently while managing to increase workload and service demands placed on the department each day. To accomplish this, I focused on developing a crime reduction strategy that would allow us to manage crime more effectively with the resources available. This process involves analyzing crime data department intelligence, and available personnel and operational resources. The data was thoroughly reviewed to identify root causes and contributing factors behind crime trends.
I found this on the web for manage effective.
This is not ChatGPT, by the way. Based on that analysis, we implemented a targeted strategy focused on crime categories that significantly influence and contribute to increases in other offenses. Our primary areas of focus that we really dug into was domestic violence and gun violence. Implementing this strategy required a significant cultural shift within our organization. Officers were encouraged to spend more time investigating incidents and identifying underlying causes rather than to simply triage calls for service and move on to the next call. The change in approach emphasized problem solving and proactive enforcement over reactive responses. The results of our strategy are reflected after our work in 2025. And if many of you saw our annual report, you noticed that over the last 2 years, there was a 62% drop in aggravated assaults, 44% decrease in burglary or breaking and entering, 49% decrease in damage to property, 58% decrease in motor vehicle theft, 25% decrease in sexual assaults, and theft from motor vehicles, 68% drop. Aggravated assaults include domestic violence and gun violence. During the same period, the department successfully applied for and was awarded a COPS grant. The city subsequently pursued a referendum related to the grant funding positions. However, the referendum did not pass. Despite our recent successes, the city's growing population and increase in service demands are diminishing. Sustaining reductions in crime will require us to continue identifying innovative ways to operate more efficiently and maximize available resources. In January of last year, 2025, I began discussions regarding opportunities to improve efficiency by modifying our response to certain calls for service. Last year, we talked to many of you that were here about our reorganization as well. That was a part of making our department work more efficiently. These concepts were incorporated in the 2026 planning budget process. The approach is not new. Milwaukee Police Department did this back in 2004 and created a large list of calls they were not going to respond to include even issuing citations for repeated calls for service. Madison Police Department has been doing it for quite some time. I don't have the exact date that they implemented it, but they also issue citations to, for example, false burglary alarms. Middleton is also practicing this, and they in fact have an online reporting system for a selected number of incidents. So we are just looking at other ways, other departments, other agencies that are doing certain things, and we're implementing them ourselves as well. Our goal was to have these operational changes implemented in the 2025, by the end of 2025. We're falling behind, and as I stated, look at the staff you have here, because this task was placed on 2 other individuals that are no longer with the organization. While progress has been made, implementation has been delayed. This is at least 6 months. We're hoping our goal to have this started at the end of last year, if not the beginning of this year. Timing is never, can sometimes be of an issue, but the purpose of this is to, at the end of the day, help our officers work more efficiently. My staff here is ready to answer questions and also explain how the 4 calls that we decided to start with will impact the community. Anybody want to start?
All right, so I guess we can just talk through one at a time, and I don't want to talk to just talk, so if you guys have questions, we can certainly do that. But the first one is motor vehicle crashes, and I think it's important to delineate between responding to a motor vehicle crash and investigating a motor vehicle crash. The ones that we are working towards responding and investigating include blockage, disabling damage, suspected impairment, or injury to persons. We didn't reinvent the wheel with this. We looked at, like the chief said, what other agencies are doing to see how it would fit with our agency, and decided that that was the best way to move forward with that. Just to look at some quick numbers, in the past year and a half, we had 408 accidents that did not have any injuries, so that were property damage only. When we look at the disposition time, so the time from in which the officer was dispatched until they completed the call, we spent a little over 13 straight days investigating accidents that at the end of the day are ultimately just paperwork that we're filling out for the insurance company. And then another one that's kind of staggering is we had 60 car versus deer accidents, and we spent almost over 1 day in the past year and a half just investigating car versus deer crashes. So that's the gist of it. This is something particular that we rolled out to private property crashes. I would say a year and a half or 2 years ago is when we first started this, and so this is really just an iteration of that, moving it out onto the public roadways. Any questions that come to mind on crashes right away?
Joe, and then who else has? And Jake. Okay, go ahead.
Officer Brown, I appreciate you laying that out, particularly the efficiency piece, because I'm wondering.
Is does not preclude officers from responding to these crashes just to make sure everybody's okay, and it does fit within the parameters that we set. It doesn't necessarily mean that the officer is going to spend all the time to fill out the crash reports and do the additional investigation. So at the end of the day, you still may get an officer responding just to double check and then move along on his or her way after they check on everybody.
And my apologies, Lieutenant Brown, not
Thank
Officer
you.
Brown.
Okay, you're done? Okay, so Jake.
I think the chief answered my question, but so if like an elderly person had a private property accident and they didn't know how to use the internet and didn't feel comfortable filling out the accident report, you all would still do that, I assume?
Yeah, I mean, we're not, in this instance, we're not completely abandoning the community. We understand that there are instances that, even though they may not fit our guidelines, may require us to help them out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think any of this is super groundbreaking. This is pretty standard in a lot of police organizations.
Okay, who is next? Bill. Oh.
Yeah, so you mentioned a site where you can go and fill out, you said the same report, so is that like a DT 4000?
Correct.
And that will show up on the community maps then eventually?
It should. I don't know if that necessarily goes on community maps, but it's this almost the exact same form that a police officer would fill out.
I guess my concern is that if the police stop filling out those forms and populating the map, then we don't collect, the data won't be collected and
We will still get the call for service from 911. All of those calls will still go there. It'll get assigned to a call for service for the police department that a crash occurred. So all of that data will still be collected. We just don't do the back end portion from the investigative standpoint.
Okay, so the DT 4000 will be generated regardless.
The call for service. Now, whether or not community members choose to report that crash as a result of the parameters that we have set, that's going to be entirely up to them whether or not they're going to make that insurance claim. I'm going to.
No, I just wanted to add, I think I got your question, is the data that we're going to be losing if it goes to the DOT, because there is a DOT website where you can report the driver exchange, and that's what it is. It's a driver exchange, property damage only accident. There is, and he's not here to verify it, but Captain McCarthy, who's well versed with pulling that data, we should be able to pull it at the end of the year from the state and enter in that for our numbers so that we can have accurate information. And we're
Okay.
talking about the actual accidents that occur and
So,
location.
yeah, so the community maps from the TOPS lab at UW, where you can go and you can, put in a date range, put in a county, whatever, select for all of the crashes that have occurred in a given time period. I just want to make sure that that data is not going to be compromised by departments that implement this type of change, because, that the MPO and all of the communities, that are part of this, the Dane County Safe Streets for All grant, that, and figuring out the high injury network and all that sort of stuff is relying on having complete and accurate crash data. So if we don't have that anymore, that's going to be a problem. I guess, have you talked with, for instance, Ross Kaler, our transportation engineer, or anybody at the MPO or at the TOPS lab?
The property damage only report will still be documented. It's a driver exchange. It gets entered into a system, whether it gets called to the DOT or gets reported to us, it will still be reported. So we will still have that data.
But that one is, I want to understand, who is the person that started with this report? It's going to be the
driver.
The driver.
The drivers.
What happened if the driver decided, I don't have time, I don't know how to use that, the website, I don't know where is the link, you know what I mean? So we are going to lose that, practically.
Well, people do that now that understand the system. There's accidents that don't get reported that are driver exchange. It happens all the time. No, we don't have that. We don't get all the crashes. If they're property damage only, there are several accidents that never get reported because that's how they're handled.
Okay, any other question? Okay, Logan.
All right, the next one we'll move on to is...
Oh, we have a question, Logan. No, sorry, Logan, the other Logan.
Oh.
That's the second time that happened today. Deputy Chief Leahy and I talked, and he said, Logan, talk to us. And I'm like, wait, I did? So who's on first? So two quick questions then. If an individual involved in a crash is filling out this whatever this DT 4000 or whatever the acronym that Alder Jetzer said was, what is what stops them from shaping the narrative in this narrative section to be more favorable to them versus having an outside third party, in this case one of our law enforcement officers, complete this on their behalf? And then, because that gets into my next question about, what does the insurance company then do with this if I fill it out and I say that the mayor ran into me,
Probably.
Yeah, but the situation may be not as black and white as it's being described. So I'm just kind of curious what impacts that would have for folks who are filling this out, both from their user side and then also from the downstream.
Take that one?
Yeah, I mean, as a police department, we're generally not determining fault on a crash. And so we do have that unbiased narrative that we can put in there. At the end of the day, it's up to the insurance companies to make the determination on who is at fault and whose insurance is going to pay for what damages. So I would say that there's not necessarily a mechanism in there to stop that, other than the other party being a part of the conversation.
Yes, property damage only accidents are lower level property damage insurance claims. The two individuals involved, both people involved in that accident, they can technically say or argue what they're going to, but the insurances are going to look at these also as low level. So at the end of the day, it will be handled by the insurance companies, and if they want to contest it, the individuals will contest it with their own insurance. They're not really going to include the police with this as the tiebreaker.
Okay, Jake, and then you.
I just pulled up the DOT manual, and it says that, crash records that are not reported by law enforcement are included in the total number of crashes for a given jurisdiction. They're just not displayed on the map. So I think everything would be captured. And I'm quite certain that an insurance company, if they're paying the damage that is over the accident threshold, they will ensure that there's an accident report filed with the DOT. So.
Okay, thank you. Do you have another question? Okay, go ahead.
One more quick one. How will folks know if they should self-report this or not? Is to say they'll call 911 or call the non-emergency number, and the dispatcher, whether it's Dane County or in-house, will guide them through this?
So we've already been in contact with Dane County 911, and they already have this protocol in place for the City of Madison Police Department. They specifically ask questions to kind of get to the root of the severity of the crash as to whether or not they're able to direct them to a website for self-reporting, or we can handle these types of conversations over the phone, or an officer can arrive on scene if there is questionable information that 911 provides. So we can steer them. The citizens are going to be steered in the correct direction as far as whether or not the police department is going to handle it, or they should do that on their own.
Okay. Okay. So, Logan, you can go
Thank
ahead.
you. The next category is alarm responses. So we have looked at the data and determined that the only alarms that seem to have a lot of community value in them are responding to ATM alarms and bank alarms, just due to the heightened risk that comes along with the situations that happened at those establishments. To give you some insight to the data, in the past year and a half, we had 601 total alarm calls in the city, and 100% of those alarm calls were found to be false. So no indication of any sort of criminal activity, which on average I would say is consuming 20 to 30 minutes of an officer's time, if not more, depending on the type of building that it is. So it's hard to say that we should be responding to those calls when we're just not seeing any evidence of it. At the same time, this change in policy puts a little bit of onus on the homeowner to be checking their cameras or to look for some other way to verify that something is going on or isn't going on. And if we're able to substantiate that there is criminal activity, then we are going to respond and complete that investigation.
Okay.
I just wanted to give an example, a couple of examples from my time on second shift as an officer and then a patrol sergeant. But we have a lot of businesses, large businesses, that have a door that doesn't get fully secured, or their sensor inside is very sensitive and something moves and the alarm goes off. A large building like that can take the entire shift up to an hour to clear that building when there was no crime to begin with. But we're checking on it because we were sent there. So I think that it's important to remember that it's not just 30 minutes of an officer's time. It could be up to 8 officers spending that amount of time, and then there's no one patrolling the city at all.
When we discuss crime strategies, here's one that I look at calls like this and indicate, as a matter of fact, I won't mention what alder, but we have an email forwarded on a loud music complaint, and they were complaining how long it took us to respond to that loud music complaint. If we have, and this month's, actually May's monthly crime report, we're starting to see a trend. What we have to do here as a staff is every Monday we look at, review what's going on, look for trends, and identify what we can do. It may be something where we have our officers, after each shift, we have what you might watch it on TV, called roll call. That's the sergeant's time to inform the officers that are going out on the street what their obligation is for the day. You may see a car parked or somewhere at an intersection, maybe a traffic complaint. We may be patrolling in a particular neighborhood because there's been an uptake in burglaries. We look at the day that the incidents are occurring, the time of the day that they're occurring, and the location of where they're occurring. So we may send our officers to patrol in a particular area because our data is telling us you need to be here. We can't do that if we're responding to several of the burglar alarms and other calls for service that are going to pull us from an area where we want our finite resources in, because we are trying to predict when some of these things are happening or trying to identify more information that's going to lead us to the problem.
Okay, so any question for this part? Yeah.
So I guess revisiting your anecdote about, having maybe up to 8 officers taking an hour to make sure that there was no criminal activity.
Basically, we have to clear the building, so we have to go inside and check every single room, and if you have something, I mean, CertCo isn't a perfect example because it's a 24-hour business, but if you had a giant warehouse like that, we have to clear all areas of that building, and you have to do it safely, which means you have to do it slowly.
So how do you know whether that's necessary or not? Like if we, so you two parallel universes, one you respond, one you don't.
Mm-hmm.
The one you respond, you very carefully and meticulously search the entire premise to figure out if there's any activity. And the other one, you just say, let's hope there's nothing there? How does this work?
The way that we're go ahead.
No, we're not going to respond to it because 100% in the last 2 years have been false.
Right.
So we're not going to respond because it's consuming our time. So what we're going to do is, if the owners find that it was burglarized, we will then investigate it. And we will respond. We are going to take the burglar call. And we're going to investigate it. In addition to that, in today's time versus the traditional burglar alarm, there's cameras. So we're going to try to communicate with these different large-scale, they're not all businesses, some of them are schools, to say, who's going to monitor these cameras to tell us an actual burglary occurred, or when you confirm that a burglary occurred, we will then respond and handle the investigation.
Okay, it just seems like, in one case you do nothing, in another case you invest an awful lot of time and effort. Is there anything in between that might be appropriate?
You find an open door, what do?
Wow.
You got to now see, did somebody go in there? Are we going to catch somebody in the act? Are they going to be pulling computers out? Are they sleeping in there?
Yeah, I think that the delineation between the two examples that you provided, Alder Jets, there is an open door. If we walk around the building and all the doors are closed, then we're likely not going to go in suspecting that there isn't any criminal damage or criminal activity inside. If the door is open, then we have some obligation to go inside and ensure that the building is secure.
Okay, go ahead.
Loud music was mentioned. Do you have data on like what that, because I've always found it strange. I mean, I understand that like it can disrupt people, but I've always just erred on the side of like, if you have a neighbor, talk to them, don't call the police. How from your experience are those interactions typically handled, and like is that a waste of your time?
So
I mean, I get it. I get it, but like I've literally had people like do that to me, and like people that I know, and I'm like, I know you. Like, why don't you just? I've seen it go left too. I understand.
I don't want to get too far off topic. I'd like to talk about the 4 areas that we're trying to modify our services. We can definitely talk about that if we have the bandwidth to continue on after our presentation here. But that is a great conversation, and we're actually discussing how we can put more onus on the citizens who are complaining, because a lot of time that responsibility falls on the officer to either take some level of enforcement action. But I think our thought process moving forward is, if the complainant wants to put their name on it, essentially, and not remain anonymous or anything like that, then those are some things that we can take a little bit higher level of enforcement, as opposed to, I would say, probably 90+% of the time it's cleared with a verbal warning and we're done. But to your point, yes, we'd love for people to talk to each other and say, hey, your music is a little loud. I think that's the guidance that Alder Reichstad provided to the most recent citizen. It's great advice, and I think everybody should. It builds a little bit more sense of community also, instead of being so closed-minded to your neighbors. But it's a great point.
I kept the elder anonymous, and you just called him out.
I kind of alluded to
Yes.
our conversation earlier, so.
Oh, everyone knows now. Okay,
So does
Jay.
anybody have questions on the alarms? Go ahead.
Okay.
So are those going to get aired as like beat information for the whole shift? And then, okay, so like if the officers, it would just get aired out and they wouldn't assign an officer to it, but if they wanted to respond, like if it's 4 a.m. and they have nothing else going on, they're probably going to at least drive by the business or the house. So that's what it looks like in practice. The officers are still made aware of an alarm.
Okay. Next one.
That data is still captured for Alder Jetzer, of course.
All right, the next one is animal nuisance calls. So we have two great CSOs that work for the department, and that is one of their primary responsibilities and roles. And we find that outside of their operating hours, which is when the sun is up, that we do receive a lot of animal nuisance calls. Those are things such as found animals, lost animals, barking dogs, that we spend a significant amount of staff time on. Over the past year and a half, we've spent roughly 25 hours investigating barking dog calls, 16 hours dealing with found animals, 41 hours dealing with stray animals, and then 8 hours searching for lost pets. So the average on the number of calls or the time spent on those calls is anywhere between 30 to 42 minutes. Again, to the chief's point, it's very hard to dedicate our finite resources to a larger concern in the community, such as burglary or vehicle thefts, when we're spending that amount of time responding to what is really a quality of life concern.
Oh, wild turkeys.
Well, turkeys, I was just going to mention that. I'm a part of that email string as well. But in addition to that, the CSOs are also handling, and I think some of us here know who some of the, I don't want to chronic, but they're complaining about the parking. So we have to do parking enforcement on some of these complaints because they're legitimate parking complaints. And those are constant. Our CSOs do a lot of the parking enforcement. They also handle the fleet. So they're the ones that are responsible for making sure that our vehicles are operable and maintained per the requirements to keep the warranty up and running. So I don't know if any of you have come down, but there's a particular CSO. She loves to take on as much as she can on these pieces. I'm not kidding you. It could be the middle of winter and she's breaking a sweat. And that's how she moves. That's her personality, but that's how busy she is. She'll take any call you give her. She'll do any of these calls, and she just asks for more. But I don't want to wear her down. Although she likes to stay busy, that's how busy she is from handling these.
I have a question for if people want to complain about an animal noise or behavior. So is there a different phone number to call to contact this officer directly or no? Or we had to call 911? Okay. All right.
Yeah, preferably the non-emergency number over 911, but yeah,
Okay.
it is the same.
Okay.
608-255-2345.
And they would also be working during normal business hours,
Okay.
so you can just call the police department directly,
Okay.
and they can answer those calls.
Okay, Joe.
Don't forget roosters. I think somebody complained in the D1 listening session. So how much of this can be sourced, like particularly for lost pets, be sourced to the Humane Society? Because that's my first thought. Like you see a lost dog, doesn't have a tag on it or something, like you would call them before the police. Is that not common knowledge for residents or?
I would say no. I mean, based on the amount of hours that we're spending on these things, again, it goes back to we may not investigate these things, but if somebody calls in and they have, a lost dog in their garage that came by the house, we'll likely give them that recommendation to take it to the Humane Society.
Okay. Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe in like social media posts that could also be advertised, like lost a pet, this is who you call.
Or in the page. We're going to talk about the page.
And we're creating an FAQ page for the police department, and that type of information can be posted on it as well. Additionally, after hours, Dane County also has their own humane officers that could also assist with those calls that come in after hours. And this, of note, we would still respond to animal bite complaints because there's some information that we need to get documented, so we can send that information to our CSOs who can handle the quarantine requirements.
Okay. Yes.
Maybe this doesn't happen here. Maybe I grew up in a different area. But what about if there's like a safety concern around an animal? Like what if someone thinks an animal has rabies or something and is acting that way? I mean, what is the process then if that happens? That I assume you don't want them out like Atticus finching it in the road.
I think
Are you talking like a wild animal?
Yes, a wild animal, not like someone's dog, like a wild
I think all of these types of calls were chosen because none of them represent a danger to people. right? So a wild animal they think is rabid could be a danger to the citizens. So an officer would at least have to try and respond and see if they can deal with that.
Correct. Thank you.
Okay, so what is the last one? The vehicle.
All right, the last one is, I'm going to be very clear about this, a theft from a vehicle, not the theft of a vehicle.
Oh, okay.
So this one is essentially a common scenario would be you left your car unlocked in the hotel parking lot. Somebody opened your door and took $5 and change out of your center console. It's those types of petty thefts that over the years we have seen have a very low solvability rate, and that is often due to not having any suspect information or the theft occurring at a time in which somebody is sleeping or away from their vehicle. So if we look at the same trend here with the past year and a half, we've had 45 thefts from vehicles, and only one of those cases did we gather enough information to be able to forward it to prosecution. I wish I could tell you how many days we spent investigating these things, but that number, just based on the way that we track this type of call, is very hard to obtain.
So of note for theft from vehicles, there are certain instances where we would still respond. If it's a theft of a firearm, if it's a theft of large amounts of cash, or if there's a pattern of behavior that we're seeing from 911, because again, people are still going to call 911. These calls for service are still going to pop up to Alder Lepper's point before as beat info. But if we all of a sudden get 5 to 6 in a particular neighborhood, of course we're going to investigate those. We're going to, even if those particular homeowners, maybe they don't have video cameras, they don't have suspect information, but your neighbors might. So we're going to see that as a pattern, and we're going to still investigate those types of thefts from vehicle, not thefts of vehicle, of course. Yes, sir.
Okay.
I'm thinking that looking at the department's social media post, that seemed like the thing that generated the most alarm in people. But I mean, I've noticed the department, even dating back to when Chad was chief, has always kind of re-emphasized lock your doors, and I feel like that's a best practice, and it's something that, we're a growing city, and lock your doors.
You remember that we did a campaign a couple of summers ago, I don't know, it was before COVID or after COVID, that we have all these incident one summer, and I remember because I was going through my neighborhood with I think Ned printed, what to do, and we put it in each mailbox to remind people that, don't lock your door.
And keep your valuables out of your vehicle, out of sight.
Something like that, maybe because it's summertime and people sometimes leaving the car outside.
Sure.
If we can.
We can revive Ned's old posts on Facebook and stuff like that. We can definitely do those.
It's a good reminder. Yeah. So okay. Okay, Gabriela.
Just I'm just trying to imagine how this is from a person calling's perspective, especially for the last two, the animal nuisance call and the theft from a vehicle. So someone calls the non-emergency line and say, hey, this happened. What are they instructed? So do they then make a report online? Because the officer's likely not going to come and investigate unless there's maybe time or whatever. But so did we just tell them we're not going to address it? Or what do they do next? What do you tell them?
Yeah, from 911's perspective, when I had a conversation for them, they don't want to make decisions for communities on what a police agency responds to. And so to the point of the information always coming back out to the officers, then it's up to the officer and the supervisor working that shift to make sure that call is handled appropriately. In the situation that you bring up, the guidance that we've given to our officers is we can't just abandon them. We don't know if 911 told them that we're not coming or not, and so let's make a phone call to them and explain the situation that they're in and how they can best handle that.
So they will get a response, but it's likely going to be a phone call instead of an actual officer responding.
Yes,
okay, so they will get, it's not like they're not going to hear anything from us. That was what I was thinking. It was and I appreciate the need to reduce the work, but I'm like, what is the experience for the person calling? Okay, a
Yeah,
phone call.
and to bring up the theft portion, it's not something that we currently have the ability to do, but we're exploring how the community can self-report some of this stuff online, so that the data that we may be missing by not responding and investigating some of these calls, that they can still provide to us on the back end. So it would be very similar to completing your own crash report. You would just create your own theft report online, which many other agencies do, and then we can ingest that information into our systems.
Okay.
Okay, I know that you guys are working on a page on the website. Can we show where is that so people know? I know that you're still working on this, isn't it? In the question and
so
answer.
the Q&A page is live on the website.
Can you also,
Scott, if you show my screen, I can
create a post and put it in social media that there is this available, so for people?
And then in addition to the Q&A page, which is near the bottom, we created a designated crash page, so it's very easy for folks that are involved in motor vehicle accidents to go on our website, and then there are links directly to the state DOT website on how to self-report that, and then a link to the website on how to obtain a copy of a crash report. Before, that was kind of hidden on our website, and we pulled it to the front.
So the other thing is, because the city is launching this app, it would be great that maybe. Don't look at it. Look at it. The Access Fitchburg. This is Access Fitchburg for.
Yeah, that's for Fitchburg.
Oh, I would say maybe they will great that I have this application on my phone if I can go directly and. You can have an app.
That might be for the website rebuild.
Sorry. Okay. So where is that? Is under police service modification. Okay. Okay.
And all of the questions and the answers on there, we took the opportunity to review all of the posts online and looked at the through line there, identified what was of most concern, and then answered those questions.
And the other thing is we need to, I hope that you mentioned this here, I haven't read this, is that all of this is scaling back of services is because of a failed referendum too. Is that, the city is growing, but also the residents say no to a referendum. And this is part of this is a consequence. Reorganization was one, and this one is another one. My second question for you is, are you planning to scaling back more services?
Absolutely.
Which one?
We got to do our research. I can't. I'm not going to give you any one because we're trying to balance out what we're going to not do. But when we have time, we'll research other calls and see what we're not going to respond to.
Okay.
I think the bigger picture is regardless of why the police department is lacking the services. I think the other element, obviously, communities at the forefront as far as how we can best provide services to them. But I think we also need to recognize that we are grossly understaffed from a per capita officer, per capita amount. So we need to really identify ways that we can improve the officers' work and their quality of work that they can get done, and in a very competitive job market for law enforcement, especially in Dane County, to tell an officer you're going to come here, you're going to work with one of the lowest staff departments in the entire state, and you're going to have some of the highest number of calls for service, the highest number of violent crime in the state, but you could go to this department and get paid more and have more officers to help you out with. I think it would be disingenuous of us to say that with a straight face. So we're trying to identify any ways that we can improve their lives as well, and recruit and retain the officers that we do have.
As we move forward and we look at what we're not going to respond to, what we will do first is identify how we can have the self-reporting system and then identify all the different crimes that you can self-report that are more of an insurance claim. Doesn't mean won't investigate them, but it's the data that they enter that will help us focus on the causes and then have a better plan to use our resources on it.
Chief, just to clarify a point that was just made, Fitchburg has the highest number of calls for service of violent crimes in the state of Wisconsin?
One of the highest. We've consistently ranked in the top 10 of all cities in the state of Wisconsin. And within Dane County, we have the highest level, and this is of 2024 data. We don't have 2025 yet. In 2024, we had the highest number of violent crimes, but the lowest staffing. And this we've presented several times over. So
Gotcha.
it's not new news.
But also, looking at the monthly police department report, we also seen that there is a decline in crime. You know, we live in a
100%.
safe city, okay?
Yes,
Okay,
100%.
I want to, you know what I mean? Like that.
We need to put it in perspective.
Yeah.
But we also have fewer officers dealing with the calls for service, and we need to keep that in mind. One of the biggest things that I've been focused on while I've been at the department is officer wellness. And if we consistently keep adding on to an already low amount of finite resources, that quality of work that our citizens are going to receive might start declining as well. We have a partnership with the fire department and EMS, and the website is First Respond Well. And before we can help people, we have to be well ourselves as public safety workers. And if we keep adding on to that workload and not identifying, it's our responsibility to find those efficiencies that we can reduce those and be more efficient, not only through our department, but also through our community. I think pays dividends in the end. And obviously, everyone here has been supportive of our officer wellness program and our greater public safety wellness. But I think this is just looking towards the future, because we don't necessarily see those 12 officers that we're down right now coming to our department. So we have to identify ways that we can improve that.
I also want to clarify to Alder Densler, it's per capita, per 100,000. So we were, and this is going to answer the mayor's question as well, we were in the top 5 when we came here for crime. So I'm talking gun violence, domestic aggravated assaults, and we now went from 5 to 13. So the significant crime creep we're acknowledging, but it's from our strategy. We're digging in to see how we can fix some of these things. But oftentimes, I think many of you who travel throughout the county, you're going to hear every department say, we're short-staffed. We're telling you, we are the shortest. We're the last one on the list. So out of the cities the size between 30 and 50,000, we are last on the list. We are the lowest. I think we're now at 1.4 1.4 and change officers per 1,000. And that also, it includes when we talk about who we're competing per 1,000. I think number 4 were we next to like Racine? Correct me if I'm wrong, for the top of Menominee Falls. And you're talking about the bigger cities like Racine that were in that count of 5. So we're doing good, but that's because this team here that you see, and even though the faces change, we're focusing on this.
Okay, Micah.
So, I appreciate the kind of like high-level overview that the per capita staffing ratio gives. I also really appreciate the ability to say to us, like, hey, we spent 8 days equivalent on this task that, didn't really benefit the community at all. Are there other, I feel like I hear a lot about the per capita staffing statistic. Are there other metrics that you have that kind of show what you're spending your time on, where you're having to fall short on, because you're not staffed up, that we can look at in addition to that?
Yes, if there anything in particular that you're looking for?
I guess I would defer to you to say, like, are there other kind of metrics that you, whether it's a certain type of call for service or a certain type of, where you're spending your time and how that's kind of falling short?
Absolutely, we can. And actually, when we talk about what we want to bring up to the count next month now, is a system that's going to help us pull that even more in more detail. So what you're asking for, we're trying to get you even with a system that's going to have it for us so it's less labor intensive. Data we can pull, but currently it's labor intensive with the systems we have in place. So yeah, there's a lot there, and I agree with you. You don't just look at officers per 1,000. But I think even in this conversation, you can see that we're in the data with a number of different things. You all see a lot of it. We're chuckling, but we still have to answer to that citizen that's complaining about the wild turkey. We still have to answer to being responding to a loud music complaint where it took us over a half an hour to respond. We still have to answer to the citizens on Double M that think or believe our data doesn't show it, but even pulling the data for speeding, where we have to answer because they're saying they're never seeing a police over there. So you see it. And we're living it. We're trying to come up with answers. But those complaints that you sent us, all of you sent us, don't go unnoticed. We have to work on it, and it has a trickle-down effect.
Okay, Logan.
I will just say that I think the information that you all presented tonight was very helpful and eye-opening, especially going through and saying this is like 8 of our 365 days a year spent on all of these alarms that never sounded or they sounded but never resulted in crime. I think it would be helpful to, I guess I'm going to just say, like, scream it from the rooftops here. When I see some of the comments on the Facebook post, for example, and some of the things that I've heard in the community, I think it's helpful, that has changed my perspective on what was announced last week. And I think we, whether it's working with Jeremy Crosby or working with administration, I think it would be really helpful to add some of that why behind the data so that it further demonstrates that this was not just done flippantly because, to kind of protest, well, the referendum failed, so we're going to do this, which I know it's not. But I think it would be helpful to show that to the community, because I think it would really be eye-opening of, yeah, we responded to 400 of these and 0% actually had anything to them. I'm still not necessarily sure how I feel about the crashes. I was curious about the thefts from vehicles, if we will cite somebody, for example, if they have a firearm stolen from their vehicle and they left it unlocked. If that is I don't want to necessarily punish victims, but at the same point, if that crime then goes and is used in a shooting over on the east side of Madison or something, is there any sort of enforcement that's done to kind of be more of a stick than a carrot to encourage folks to take that extra second to double check that they did lock their car before they go in for the night?
There's always messaging that we can do. And we can message every day. There's a lot. It's exhausting. But I'm not saying we can't do the messaging, but a lot of the things that are requested are also time consuming. We have to, how should I say it? We're working on red. And the suggestions, they're not going to, some of them, maybe we didn't think about them, but the messaging piece, we always think about them. But it's a constant, and it's having that balance, because just like what Alder Liddell just indicated, we can pull a lot of data from you, but then we're missing our focus on what we're trying to do out in the community. With everything that we pull from you, the systems we have in place are labor intensive. Providing stuff on social media, when I came to this city, I mean, we put everything on social media where I came from. I didn't have the capacity to do that here. So, and then when we do, why did you put that on there? So you're between a rock and a hard place. We put it on there, and then do we have a checklist on who we're going to notify that something is going to go on there? So if we do that, then you realize that you're going to be putting something out on social media that's already 2 or 3 weeks old, or even a month old by the time it gets approved, if that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and as a comms professional by day, I am retweeting everything you're saying, or reposting whatever X is called now. I am 100% behind what you were saying. I think that is why it's important that as we look at our communications plan that's working its way through administration, to have that focus on how do we work best within City Hall. To can our communications folks, can FACTv take some of the load off of you and handle some of those those types of PSAs and things like that. I also think, again, that's what I do for a living and try to do in this role as well, is really be that messenger of what's going on. And that was one of the things I think was really lacking with this for me, was that I saw the first time I heard about this was seeing it on Facebook, and then I had angry constituents messaging me while I'm on vacation, and I have no idea what's going on. I had no forewarning. And I had one person say, why are we spending $31 million on this brand new station if they can't respond to calls? And then I had another person say, why don't we just start slashing every other department in the city and giving you your 12 officers tomorrow? So I didn't know how to respond to either one of them, and I would love to, and now I've got this website, so that will be going in my newsletter, so thank you for pointing that out to everyone. I just, with a little bit more, forenotice, I would have been happy to help carry some of that burden. And if it's, if you give us some of those cards, I'll gladly go around and put them on windshields that say, hey, make sure your car is locked at night, especially if there's targeted areas. We're up here as public servants as well in that way. So I'm happy to do that. But I certainly can't help if I'm not in the loop on that. So I just wanted to make that clear that I am happy to carry some of that water up the hill, if you will. So.
Gotcha.
So this is why they are here, because... Any other question, comment? No?
I guess I'll just do one thought. Good work on making these changes. And I know you face all really hard choices, and the stress on the officers is no small thing, and appreciate you finding a solution and taking the heat. People aren't happy about it, right? But sometimes the right decision gets some criticism, and but I think after hearing all the detail here, I think I'm in full support of the decision, and also I think a lot of the public, now that hopefully if they understand it better, they would also be fully in support of it. So good work.
But I think we need to continue the communication with the resident, because residents are, they were panicking last week, okay, about this post. So, the page is great, and we need to promote, tell the people, here are more additional information about this, so. Okay, any other question, comment? Here, none. Okay, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are in, what is? Yes, okay, Bill, this is your.
I will move approval of Resolution R10326, approving agreement for subdivision improvements in the plat of 8th Edition to 9 Springs. This was postponed at the May 12th council meeting.
Second.
Board of Public Works approved.
Okay, what is this?
This is a standard subdivision improvement agreement. Back in March, we conditionally approved the 8th Edition to 9 Springs, and in order for the developer to move forward, we need to have this subdivision improvement agreement to install public improvements. Standard template. We do this with all of our developments.
Can you tell people where is 9 Spring?
This is out near Uptown Fitchburg, near Lacey and Sherrill.
No. No. Where is that? Is this Terravesa?
This is Uptown.
This is in Uptown.
Yeah.
This is Avante?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, but I think we need to... Okay, this
It's
is
along
Avante.
the future Stanley Park Place
Yeah,
extension.
I know, yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay.
And I guess the only thing I'll point out is that if you read closely in the packet, you'll note that tree grates are required here, even though planning department said we're not going to do those anymore. And
What? Can you repeat again?
tree grates, so within the terrace.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there are already some in that area, just to the south. And so for consistency's sake, we're going to, we just want to make sure that the neighborhood looks contiguous.
I think just for clarification's sake that generally speaking, yes, tree grates will no longer be required in most areas of Smart Code. However, there are still limited areas where street grates or tree grates may still be required, consistency or otherwise. So I think it's a matter of what the function of the particular block is, particularly if we were looking at a mixed-use block, perhaps, or street front that has limited terrace. tree grates would still be required in that situation.
Okay. Any question, comments? Here none. All those in favor of resolution R-10326 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I will move approval of Resolution R-12126, authorizing the water utility to file a simplified rate increase application with the Public Service Commission of Wisconsin.
Second.
Okay.
Board of Public Works approved.
Finance approved.
Okay. What is this?
We have a water utility in the city. It's a regulated monopoly, controlled, the PSC has some control over it and determines what sort of rate of return we can implement for on our infrastructure. We're allowed to charge as much as 6.8% on our rate base, and we're currently sitting at about 3.8. So we want to do a simplified rate case now, which allows us to do up to a 3% increase to try and inch our way towards that 6.8, so that next time we do a full rate case, we won't have a big jump. The last full rate case was in 2023. It was implemented first quarter of 2024. And if you recall, about a year ago, we tried to do a rate increase, a simplified rate case, but we couldn't. We found out that the rates don't have to be in effect for a year. They have to be in effect for a calendar year. So because it was first quarter of 2024, we had to wait for calendar year 2025. And so those rates were in place for the entire calendar year of 2025. So now we can do the simplified rate case. And so we're asking for 3%, which will bring us up from 3.8% overall to 4.5% off of our $15.2 million rate base. And the net result of this is that an average home will see an annual increase of just under $6. If we approve this...
$6 per year?
Per year,
month?
yes,
Okay.
correct, per
Okay.
year. These rates will probably go into effect in September for the last quarter of the year.
Okay. Any question, comment? Thank you. Here none. All those in favor of resolution R-12126 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. So
Mayor,
yes.
before we move to parks, can I propose that a couple of items get moved up? I want to switch to virtual and take my daughter home before bedtime.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, it's fine. So I move that we move 8J as well as H, 8L, and then the direct referral 11A to after Parks Commission.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of moving up all these items mentioned by, because I don't remember which was that, by Alder Maldonado, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay. So Parks Commission.
I move approval of ordinance 2026-017. That would be, excuse me. Sorry, I have so many tabs open. I am that guy. This would be
Ordinance.
ordinance. I'm sorry.
I can read it. Updating public parks and swimming pool closing hours by amending sections 5422 and 5423 of the Fitchburg Code of Ordinances.
Thank you, Alder.
Second.
Okay. Did Park Commission approve?
Yes.
What is this?
So essentially, what we're going to do is estimate the reference to Central Daylight Savings Time to avoid confusion for park users. And we're also going to modify language in 5423 that permits people to pass through the park on a pathway after closing hours. So a lot of this is kind of boilerplate language, but Eric, if you wanted to add anything to this, I'll open it up to you.
You described it just fine, Joe. It's more of a clerical update at this point to reflect any changes within the ordinance.
Thank you. Okay. Any question, comment? I think this is the thing that you, Bill, were.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the
you
main
can explain this, Bill.
the main point was that per our ordinances, you were not legally allowed to pass through a park after park closing hours unless you were driving through in a car. But I don't know if we have any roads that go through parks. That would be kind of silly. So the main impetus here was to allow people to walk or bike or skateboard or whatever to their home after park hours. And then while I was in there, I thought, well, why the heck are we talking about, Central Daylight Time, Central Standard Time, whatever? So some parts of the year, people got to do an hour's worth of math in their head to figure out whether the parks are open or not. So just, that's kind of the clerical part that Eric was talking about, just making sure that people just look at their watch and say, oh, well, it's between 10 and 6 a.m., so the parks are closed.
Okay. All those in favor of Ordinance 2026-017 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
So the next one is I would like to defer Resolution R8926, revising the Hasta-Hochi rental fees schedule, rental policy.
So you want to table?
Sorry, we're going to table it. Postpone, excuse me.
July 28.
July 28, okay.
Yeah, so the basis behind this is we had one of our parks commissioners come up with some amended language, and we wanted to be able to check that with the attorney and also bring it back to Parks Commission for approval, just to make sure it adds up legally.
All those postponing Resolution R8826 to July 28 meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Okay, so what is the other one that you up?
Now we're going to Bike and Ped.
Bike and Ped, okay.
Yeah, so we had a presentation by the All Kids Bike. It was the founder of Strider Bikes. And the Strider Education Foundation just gave an update on kind of educational initiatives that they're doing in schools. Obviously, as a municipality with 3 school districts, we're not necessarily, directly responsible for implementing this. So it was a good conversation, but not really a lot of action that we could take as a city. We had a conversation on our bike-friendly community status update, and just kind of talking about the criteria it would take to go to gold if we needed to. We refined conversations on the biking on sidewalks ordinance development. So we looked at state statutes and also revisited what other municipalities were doing and kind of agreed on some potential language that we want to further refine. And then introduced one of our new BPC members. So that's all I've got for that.
Okay, thank you. What is the other topic? Oh, H&I, okay.
Yep, so for H&I, we actually met at Hasta-Hochi. We had a good meeting and kind of discussing further the potential of postponing our process for a year to be able to revise what that would look like. Jessica presented a plan that was really interesting on kind of how to go into each neighborhood and have neighbors look at priorities that they had for kind of categories that they wanted to support. So we reviewed those events, and members just kind of talked about tag teaming and showing up to some of these events with Jessica to support. And that's it.
And then you need to move forward the resolution.
Yes, so I would like to move forward Resolution R14026, which would authorize the year-round flying of the Progress Pride flag and the flag of the Ho-Chunk Nation at City Hall campus.
Second.
Okay, so.
Yep, so this was at the encouragement of the mayor, and also a conversation that we've had, for a while. We raised the Pride flag during Pride Month, but, it's something that we as a city wanted to be able to show throughout the year. Also, given the city of Verona and also, I believe the Verona Area School District fly the flag of the Ho-Chunk Nation year-round. That's something that Alder Reichstad and I had a discussion about that's kind of worthy of the city doing. There is a small budget amount, but without wanting to go into a budget amendment, the criteria here is that, if we raise the money to be able to pay for a Ho-Chunk flag and a backup Ho-Chunk flag, that we'll be able to be covered through the end of the year. And that if, the mayor and council decide to add it in our 2027 budget, that, we can, potentially continue to purchase flags as they need to be replaced. So that's the spirit of this amendment. We did look at kind of flag criteria, which flags fly which order and on which flagpoles, and that's all included in the resolution here.
Any question, comment? We used to have the pride flag. Do you remember, Chad, all year round? When Mayor Richardson.
I do believe that's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say I have some concerns from the perspective of, I spent some time Googling communities that have recognized flags, and I counted like more than 30 yesterday. So I think recognition is important. I went and raised the pride flag. I think the Ho-Chunk Nation deserves representation, but I think that the council taking a unilateral approach to recognizing two specific communities when there are tons and tons of communities that are deserving of a recognition is not maybe the framework we should be taking. I think what I would propose alternatively, and I can make a motion for this, would be like a municipal flag display policy that the Community and Equity Committee puts together.
I implemented the mayor's guidelines in 2023. So I have guidelines. I share with the council. They are no policy, they are guidelines. I can share that with you.
Okay, so I guess I still just am not understanding, there's the Black American Heritage Community, there's a Pan-African community, the LGBT community has like 15 different flags that we could use. Veterans with the POW flag. I don't fully understand how we can justify just singling out these specific communities.
Okay, Logan.
I do think that it is important to fly these flags, but I think that maybe having a schedule of flying different flags and recognizing all these communities that are all deserving of the city's recognition would be my preference.
Yeah, I want to send you my guidelines, so you. This is something that when I became mayor, I didn't have like a guideline which flag to, and then I create the guidelines and city attorney review it, but they are not like it's not like how to say, the council didn't vote. We don't have like a policy. It's more guidelines, what I mean? But in the council in the future, they want to create a policy about flag. That one can be done too.
Okay, so I guess I would look to one of the two alders that proposed this to understand how they're making the justification for these specific two flags over all these other communities that we could potentially be flying flags for.
I can just add in a couple thoughts. First of all, this, as I understand it, would only apply to the city campus flags out front of City Hall here. It would be difficult to impractical to do it at all city facilities. From the work that staff did on this, it sounds like we would need 4 flags per year of each, because they get so wind worn and whatnot that we have to replace them about quarterly and even more frequently in the winter. I think where we landed with this was that since there's that flag donated item, that helps kind of show that there's community support for which flags there are. So if we can fundraise the $300 or so to fly the Ho-Chunk Nation flag, that would demonstrate that there's community support for that. If another organization wanted to come forward, for example, the POWMIA flag was another one I thought of after this was introduced, but so I didn't get it into the conversation yet. But if somebody wanted to bring forward, donate a flag to us that we fly, because we can do 2 per flagpole. So right now this would up us to 5. So we still have one more space that we could, as I understand it, use for an all-year flag or kind of rotate in and out. So that could be an opportunity for, anybody who wants to help fundraise to, help us get a POWMIA flag that we, for a year or whatnot. So I think in that way, if we have some support from the community, that will help demonstrate the community's values based on what the community is kind of putting its money behind. With recognition that we don't want to fly anything that is overtly political, a Democratic flag, a Republican flag, anything like that, which I assume would be in those guidelines. But that was kind of my initial thought about how this could be approached.
Yeah, adding to Alder Reichstad, so I initially approached him about co-sponsoring the amendment just of the pride flag, and he actually was the one that suggested adding the Ho-Chunk flag to that. And I think, consistent with, I'm in the Verona School District. Every time I drop off my daughter at school or pick her up or go to an event, I see the Ho-Chunk flag there, and I think it's important, especially consistently with our naming of Hastahochi and the fact that we're on native land. I think that's a fair justification for that flag in particular to be selected. So I agree with that, and that's why I added that as in addition to the pride flag. I think the pride flag also just signaling that we are a
welcoming
community that welcomes inclusivity, especially in this day and age where there's a huge amount of violence towards particularly trans folks. I think I would stand on that. I would plant my flag on the fact that it would be in our best interest to fly the pride flag in the city. But I do recognize your logic, and I do understand that we would have to make some calculus, based on what other interests, may arise as well. So I recognize your concern.
Yeah, I will forward you to. You have those ones, isn't it, Chad? I don't remember where. Yes, Gabriela.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, I think the reason that we changed it to just flying the pride flag during Pride Month was because of that. Exactly what Jake laid out was that there's lots of different groups that might be interested in having a flag flown on the Fitchburg, flag mast, and how do we make that choice? And I think if you were to choose to, these two make tons of sense, right? Because the pride flag is about inclusivity of all people, not just one particular group, although some people associate it with only one group. I really think that the flag is about inclusivity for everybody. And then the Ho-Chunk Nation is obviously just given the history of this land. But I think Jake's point is well taken. I mean, I think there are a ton of flags that can be flown, and we just have to be prepared to answer that question about why these ones, and also have criteria upon which we put others up. I guess I respect the resolution. I don't know that we need a resolution to fly a flag, because we've never done a resolution in the past. Have we?
No.
So this is just like more of like a conversation. Like, we could fly the POWMIA flag if someone provided one to us.
No, but if you follow my guidelines, they are practically overriding my guidelines. You know what I mean? Because
Okay.
If you look, it's on the screen. It says that the pride flag is going to be fly only 1 month in June. You know what I mean?
So you're saying the resolution has a need because your guidance is?
No, my guideline is only for 1 month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's it.
No,
No,
she's saying she's urging this resolution to move forward because it goes contrary to that.
override that.
Yeah, it
I
overrides
just,
that.
I just want to make sure that anytime we wanted to fly a flag, we don't have to go through a resolution in council to do that. Do we? Or can the mayor make that call?
The issue, Gabriela, is we don't have a policy on flag. We had guidelines that,
Okay.
that I implemented when I became mayor, but that's it. We don't have a formal policy. You know what I mean? It's something in the future the council want to have a formal policy. I think Verona has policy with flags.
Yeah.
But this is a guideline. It's like the next mayor can come and say, I want to remove all these flags and put this one. You know what I mean? So, for me, it was like, because when I became mayor, I asked a question about the flag and no one was able to answer which one or why. And, I say, okay, let's put some guidelines. So,
Okay.
but they don't have any, how do you say, legal power.
Yeah, it's just been left to the discretion of the mayor.
Mayor, yeah, exactly.
I think Mayor Julia is the first mayor that's actually formalized the guidelines, at least that I'm aware of.
Yeah. I can bring my own flag and put my face in the flag.
I think
No, that's not the leadership we want.
We will pass a resolution
Yeah.
disallowing.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I to your point, Alder Reich said, like, I mean, if we're passing this resolution and then saying we would like to solicit donations to pass these flags, it's kind of like we're flipping the logic of whether there's going to be community support for it. We're kind of telling the community.
No,
to support
usually
it,
I think that
in my
there is a
opinion.
reasoning behind that. What I hear from other municipalities that the flags are donated. You don't use taxpayer money to purchase flags. Like this type of flag.
Yeah, I know. So
that
from
based
this
on what the-
perspective, we're saying we want these flags. We want to solicit donations because we want these flags flown year round. And then we're saying if the community wants different flags, they can come to us.
Oh yeah,
It just-
this is what
we're doing this I fully support the recognition. I want to make that clear. I don't think this is the way that we should be going
you can
about
refer
this.
them to the mayor's guidelines.
Okay, I guess then
You know what I mean?
I would move to refer to the mayor. Is that how I would do that?
Yeah,
I would have to move.
I just say like in case that people ask you why this flag and not the other one is, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but then I mean, but the mayor's guidelines say Pride Month is in June, and that's when we're flying the flag. So we're saying the mayor's guidelines, except for the ones that we decided we didn't want to go with, right? So, okay, I think I've said what I want to say.
Yes, Bill.
Just to make sure everybody's on the same page with what the pride flag represents, it's fairly inclusive. What the progress flag we're talking about is a variant of the LGBTQ rainbow flag that includes additional colored stripes representing transgender people as well as people of color. So the light blue and pink colors are for transgender, the brown and black are for people of color and the anti-racism movement, and the black stripe actually serves double duty. That's also used to include people living with HIV/AIDS. So there's a lot of bang for the $1 in this flag.
Okay, what is on the table? Is anyone is going to amend this, or is I haven't heard any amendment yet?
Well, so if there's a move to approve it already, don't we have to act on that? I'm still learning these rules.
You can amend the motion on the floor.
You can amend the
Okay,
motion.
I guess
Amend
I would amend. I wrote my amendment here. I would move to. I guess I would. This is what I wrote. Referring it to the Community Equity Advisory Committee. Could I do that?
No, what is your amendment? And
What's
then we
the
need to see
intent
if
of
you
the
have a
amendment?
second. If we don't have a second, your amendment
Okay,
dies.
well, let me just read what I wrote, and then y'all can help me figure this out. So I wrote, move to refer to the Community Equity Advisory Committee with direction to develop a comprehensive municipal flag display policy that establishes criteria for community flag recognition, a designated display schedule, and a process by which any community may petition for inclusion.
I would second that if that's an official motion.
Okay, so any question? Discussion?
So does that override the motion? Like we're not voting on this tonight, we're referring it to Community Equity Committee?
Someone grab it.
I don't would like to do that, but yeah.
No, because
Okay,
I think what you could do, yeah, it would either supersede the main motion, or if you want to vote, take action on the existing motion, and if it were to or I'm sorry, on the item that was moved initially, if you want to take action on that, and if that were to fail, obviously there could be a subsequent direction to the Community Equity Committee. I think either approach is fine. You're basically making an amendment to largely replace what's here.
but also I have my guidelines, and I don't want my guidelines to be, it took me a lot of, Okay, so, what you second the amendment, okay? So we're going to vote on the amendment, okay?
But you don't want them to supersede your guidelines.
Well, whatever, you already... No, I don't want. No.
Okay. So then.
But there is an amendment on the table, okay?
We have discussion on the amendment?
Yeah. Oh, my God. Okay.
But
the question is, I think we should do what Chad mentioned. If people are in favor of the resolution or no, and that's it.
If I may, I would say, while I appreciate the actions that could be taken, I think I would vote no on that, because I'd prefer to just either vote yes or no on this particular resolution, and then after that, start to explore the development of, a policy, a formal policy. I would say I would continue to vote yes on the amendment as we introduced it, or in the resolution as we introduced it, and then the later Community Equity Committee can start to work on developing a flag policy that can go to council. So I would vote no on this amendment. I'm just stating that.
Okay, so...
I guess I'm not 100% clear on the amendment still. So is it just to pass this plus add a referral to the Community Equity Committee to make a recommendation on flags? Or is it in lieu of voting on this amendment?
In lieu of. So I think, maybe that would be something I would have to approach the Equity Committee about offline and get it on a different agenda. I think that makes probably more sense, because my amendment is just to get rid of the whole thing. So I don't think that's really how amendments work.
Yeah, that's just voting no.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay. I'll rescind my motion.
I will also
to
add
get rid of
that
the whole
if
thing.
the Common Council wish to postpone this matter to a future date, as you continue to potentially sort out your options, that is also a path forward for the evening.
I would not be in favor of that.
Okay, so are you gonna, what are you planning to do with your amendment?
He rescinded it.
I'll rescind my motion. Yeah.
Withdraw. Okay.
Withdraw my motion.
So what is on the table is the original resolution. Okay. Okay, I will say at end of the discussion, all those in favor of...
I can't request that. Roll call,
Roll
please.
call.
Okay.
This is on the main
This is the original resolution. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Alder Dancer Jr.
Aye.
Alder Gerhart.
Aye.
Alder Herbst is absent. Alder Jutser.
Aye.
Alder Latase.
Aye.
Alder Lepper.
Nay.
Alder Maldonado.
Aye.
Alder Ragsted.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's it, Joe?
That's it.
Okay. So then we are moving to where we are? Library Board.
We meet next week.
Okay. Oh my. Commission on Aging Well,
No update at this time.
RCC.
Yes, we met last night. We got an update on Renew the Blue from Ben Schulte, our environmental engineer, and Ron French. There's 12 action items being worked on, so they broke up into 12 different groups. Ben is on the Keeping Streets Clean group, and Ron is on the Data Collection and Analysis group. And I suggested that perhaps when sufficient progress has been made or they wrap things up with this, that we get them on the schedule for a committee of the whole meeting.
Okay.
We discussed our stormwater utility funding as noted in our finance committee meeting earlier. Stormwater utility lost a little over $200,000 this past year, and maybe it's time for a rate update. The existing rates were established in 2021, so it's been 5 years. Phil walked us through his still in progress 2025 energy report. Nothing in particular noteworthy in the numbers, saw some improvements, a couple of regressions. Still somewhere between our 2025 and 2030 goals. Phil has made some formatting and indexing changes to that report that should make navigating it easier for the viewer. Ben showed us some trends with trash and recycling collection over time, and it seems that since, the graph goes back to about 2007-ish, and since then, the amount of trash we collect has risen, with population growth, but recycling seems to have peaked in the 2014 to 2018 time frame and has been coming down a bit since then. So we're not exactly sure what that means, whether people are throwing away more recycling or whether the world has just stopped using as much plastic packaging. Not sure. Phil is working on our Lead for Cities application. And I think everybody got an email from Ben Schulte. Our next Green Thursdays event will be July 2nd.
No, we didn't get.
Really? Okay, maybe you sent it out to RCC.
Yeah.
But we're going to watch the Wall-E movie.
The what?
Wall-E.
What is that?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No.
Well, you will on July 2nd. So, but it's about a world that was basically ruined with pollution and junk.
Okay. Oh, nice. It's more fun.
Yeah.
It makes it sound really not fun. It's a really great movie. It's very fun.
Okay.
And the last item, I will just say that we're up to 10,500 pounds of food scraps collected in the 7 months since those orange bins have been there. And we're up over 300 registered participants now.
Okay. Thank you. TTC.
We meet on Thursday.
Community and Economic Development Authority, CEDA.
We met on May 28th, and largely what we discussed was a lot of the housing down payment assistance and the efficiency navigator programs. And Alder Jetzer is graciously going to cover a lot of that since he got presented it yesterday at Housing Advisory. Otherwise, it was just updates about TID and anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, that covers it. Most of the TID updates were stuff that we've dealt with by, TID 17 and things like that. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Ag and Rural Affairs Committee.
Our June meeting was canceled, so we'll meet again in July.
Okay. EMS Commission.
We have not met since the last City Council. We'll meet towards the end of the month.
Okay. Housing Advisory Committee.
Yes, we met yesterday. We had 2 presentations, one from Sustain Dane on the Efficiency Navigator program. So this year we had 30 applicants. 14 properties were assessed, and we got 10 candidates out of that so far. $185,000 in improvements have been identified, and these properties affect 100 residents, including 29 children and 13 seniors. Top dogs are weatherization. There's fewer windows than last year, which is why the numbers aren't higher than 185K so far. And that's a preliminary estimate, I should say. There's been no official quotes from contractors yet. This is just based on historical data. There's more heat pump water heater opportunities this year than last, but fewer air source heat pump opportunities for heating and cooling due to federal policy. And the Sustained Ain is applying for a PSC Office of Energy Innovation grant for somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 to be used across the Efficiency Navigator efforts in Madison and Fitchburg and Middleton. Then we had Laureen gave us a presentation on the housing and economic development items. So there's 4 major things. We've got a land use restriction agreement. This is for the Efficiency Navigator. So we had a policy last year that said anybody who gets these improvements done has to keep the rents stable for 5 years. So the question came up, what happens if the owner sells? Does the new owner need to respect that? And that's what this is about. The city also got a CDBG Pro Housing grant, about $600,000 awarded to the city. So we're figuring out how we're going to spend those dollars. Staff is working on getting a housing dashboard together to track, housing and I should probably pull up the
Housing metrics.
Yeah, there's various metrics that they want to track, and I can just kind of not finding it immediately.
You can share in an email.
Yes. And then the down payment assistance program for people making between 60 and 120% of area median income. So the idea is we would do $25,000 loan, no question, no strings, to people making less than 80% of area median income. If you make between 80 and 120%, we do a 1-for-1 match up to $25,000. There's requirements that all the homeowners who participate in the program get a certificate from an educational program on responsible finances and such. And of course, this is all to support workforce housing. And there were questions that, the staff is soliciting feedback in terms of, how do we want to do this? Do we want to put a price cap on the homes? Do we want to limit by geography? Or, how do we want to score people for participation in this project? So if you have any interest in that, watch the meeting and contact Laureen.
Okay, thank you. Landmark Preservation Commission.
No report.
Tree Advisory Committee, no report. Community and Equity Advisory Committee.
No report at this time.
Report from other commission and committees.
MPO Policy Board met on June 3rd. We got a few road projects, including 2023 road resurfacing of the Beltline from Seminole to the interstate. 2029 resurfacing of Verona Road from the Beltline down to Fitch-Rona Road. And then I had sent an email to the council and mayor about the regional transportation plan, Pathways to 2050. There's a survey that you can take. There's an interactive comment map, so you can, you can put on there some comments about where you don't feel safe or infrastructure that you like, that you're happy to have. And you can register for one of the public information meetings. The content should be the same. There's one on June 15th and one on June 17th. The MPO has printed, they did a round of 10,000 copies of Dane County bike maps, and they are very popular. They're completely out of them now, so they're going to do another batch. Their e-device guidance is also quite popular, and the MPO is going to do a series of about a half a dozen 1 to 2 minute videos on the subject. So e-bikes versus e-scooters versus e-motos versus devices that defy categorization. That's the end of my update.
Move to a standing committees report, Finance Committee.
All right, I'll start with moving approval of Resolution R 11426, adopting the 2027 annual city budget schedule.
Second.
Finance did approve. This is similar to what we just did for the CIP, the schedule that will be laid out for the budget. The one thing that I'll point out that Alder Gerhart mentioned that I also had noticed was that the public hearing for the budget is on October 13th, and amendments to the budget are due at noon on October 14th. So just be aware of that. There was not really a way to get around that with the timeline for other things. Missy did say that if something comes up at the public hearing, she would be happy to assist in drafting an amendment if it was necessary. But that's a tight turnaround that people should be aware of.
Yeah, and I have a question too for Misty. I was looking at this with more detail, and when this go to mayor review process, it's a mayor final decision on priority to finance director is Wednesday, September 9, and I would like to see if we can move it to Friday, September 11. I will need more time. I don't think, because that one is a weekend, a long weekend. It's a long weekend, isn't it? Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to be taking some time off, and I want to be sure that if we can do it on Friday, 2 more days.
So the problem is it has to go to the paper the following Monday on September 14th.
Yeah, but
So as it is now, I get the...
I get it, but I don't think I'm going to have 2 weeks. This is what happened. I'm going to have only 2 weeks to go through the whole thing, because this one is the department head presentation to the mayor is Tuesday, August 25. And then I had to make all my decision by Wednesday, September 9. So I think I feel like, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. Because the question is that the budget is going to be out there for almost 2 months until we vote. So I don't know. I'm going to try to do my best, but
Would
I
you
feel
like
like
to-
I'm trash.
Can-
You know what I mean?
So, I mean, I don't know any of this. So, does the notice to the newspaper have to happen a certain number of days prior to something else?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be 15 days prior to the public hearing.
What is the public
Okay,
hearing?
so that gets, it looks like, so September 18th, is that business days?
Correct.
Oh, the public hearing?
So if the,
18? No. When is the public hearing?
I mean, this September 18th is technically 17 days prior to the
Okay,
public
so we
meeting,
have
but
time.
I don't know if there's leeway there, but.
I don't know. I want to make this comment, and if we need to move like this, but I'm going to try to do my best. Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I may, do you expect, just out of curiosity, do you think you would make a significant number of changes? If it's only, 1 or 2 changes, would it be something that you would be willing to work with an alder to introduce an amendment to?
I
make
don't
that
know
change?
yet what is going to look this in, to be honest. But yeah, no, leave it like that, and I'm going to try to do my best.
I wanted to point out one more thing for newer alders and new alders. The amendments are due at noon, think about it being due the day before,
So,
not the day of.
when is the amendment done by, where is that? Oh, why I don't see this thing here?
Yeah, it's October 14 at noon is when the amendments are due.
Here, okay.
I do want to add, I certainly appreciate the comments, feedback, and feelings related to the schedule here. But if you note, the approval, if that happens this evening, is June 9th, and action is November 10th. This is already a 5-month process, and I know it can feel rushed. I respect that and can appreciate that. But obviously there's a significant amount of work that goes into review and development of the budget. There's ordinance and or statutory requirements we have to hit related to postings and public hearings and so forth. So, there's just, it may not be ideal, but it's already a rather lengthy process.
Okay. That's it. This is my comment. All those in favor of resolution R-11426 say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Next one.
I'll move approval of resolution R-11626, purchase of equipment for police canine squad.
Second.
Finance did approve. We approved the purchase of the car for the new police canine and recently, and this is just the equipment to outfit the car appropriately.
So I have a question. Why when we purchase the vehicle, we don't also add this in the same resolution?
Yeah, if they have that information, it could potentially be done
Mhm.
that way. I don't know as though they had all the information in the quote
Okay.
obtained at that point in time. So
Okay.
that's why you see
Okay.
a separate one.
Any question, comment? Logan?
Just one really quick. Was this one of the vehicles that was totaled, or am I misremembering?
No, this is for the dog.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that was one of the ones that was totaled from the incident out back here, but never mind.
Yeah. All those in favor of resolution R-11626 say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
Just a couple things. We received a report on the city's audit for 2025. So there's a representative from Baker Tilly that gave a presentation. They said that they found no material issues similar to previous years, but they also made a note that that's uncommon compared to other municipalities. So that's a good mark for us. So I would just, they gave a good overview. The audit is in the finance department report. I encourage people to watch the presentation from Baker Tilly. Couple of things we talked about, just the CIP being released. The annual reports for the TIDs are being done alongside the TID 17 amendment. So those will all be ready by June 24th so that they can all go to the same meeting. And then the new payroll software should be going live soon. They're going to do a couple payroll sessions side by side using both packages as testing. City staff will not get paid twice. They will only get paid once. But yeah. And so yeah, that should be most of what came out of finance.
Thank you. Personnel committee?
No substantial update. I don't know, Administrator Breckland, if you wanted to share anything from our recent friendly meeting that arose out of that. Is there anything to share? Other than that, no big updates for the...
Are you referring to the meet and confer or arbitration?
Meet and confer.
I shared an update with Common Council. There was conversation on June 3rd with between the city and the fire union regarding staffing, operational, and financial challenges within the fire department, and we're going to continue the conversation on June 16th. In regards to arbitration, the city and the union have filed our post-hearing rebuttal briefs. Those were filed last week, I believe it was, and the city's labor attorney is estimating an arbitrator's ruling in 30 to 90 days. And then just as a reminder, there is a personnel committee meeting tomorrow afternoon with the agenda posted.
Okay, thank you. So unfinished business, we don't have anything. We did new business. So we're moving to all the reports, and I will start with District 1.
Thank you, Mayor. So reminder, I know Chad mentioned it, but we have popsicles in the park this Thursday. There is a high chance of rain, but both shelters are rented out. So please make sure to come out. It's in Eagle Jamestown Park. I also wanted to just reemphasize Mayor's condolences for Michael Johnson. I have a pretty long history with Michael. I worked for the Boys and Girls Club for 5 years. It was my first full-time job. I worked for the AVITOPS program, and I started about a year after Michael did to run the clubs. And 2 out of the 4 BGC locations are in Fitchburg, in my district. Michael was a former resident of Fitchburg. He left behind a wife and 3 children, one of them in college, 2 in high school, and obviously did a lot of events in Fitchburg, including the Bike for BGC. He's a complex individual. We have our complex relationship with the city and Michael, and he definitely had unorthodox ways of getting things done that I didn't always agree with, but it's undeniable that he had a huge impact on youth development and youth work in the city. And the creation of the Allied Club, prior to him coming here, is a staple of our neighborhood, and I live about a block and a half away from it. So as we, mourn his passing, I just want to advocate to folks in this community, continue to be bold, continue to, push for things that are important and values-based. And I hope that, in his wake, that we're able to find really solid leadership, for the organization and for the community, because, it's important in our neighborhoods that we have institutions and spaces where people can go, whether it be food pantry, places for kids, and places for events. And the club is definitely a staple in the Belmar community, and in our city in general. May his family find comfort and solace in his wake.
Thank you, Joe. District 2?
Just a reminder, concerts at McKee coming up next Monday, Armchair Boogie. There's also, throughout the summer, there's live music at the new Fairway Lounge out in their outdoor area there. So you can look them up on the Fitchburg Chamber website and see all the dates and who's performing. And on June 23rd, which is a council meeting night, is Parks Alive at Leopold Park. So if you've got no meetings, you could stop by. It's from 5 to 7. You could stop by there before you head over here for a council meeting.
Thank you.
Last night I went to the Highlands of Seminole HOA meeting to give them just an update on the city. Definitely the most fun HOA meeting I've ever been to. We got to really up our game for my HOA. They have a great time.
Where did you go to the Great Dane?
They went to Hop House. They go at different places every time, but it's very very good. They provide food, which is great. I also I love going to the movies. We go all the time, and the AMC parking lot is literally insane. I don't know, Chad, I don't know what needs to be done, but I've been told for over a year that it's going to be fixed, and it is literally like going to hurt somebody.
They are fixing it.
Okay.
There is an email.
I just have heard that for over a year, and it's like literally I could show you pictures. It is insane. It needs to happen. And yes, and then the final thing, there's a pictures up here since we now do some show and tell. But the fire union invited all of us to Fire Ops 101. This is a program they put on once every about 3 or 4 years, where we go to the MATC Fire Academy where they train, and they actually put elected officials and media representatives through simulations of what it's like to be a firefighter or an EMT. So that's the pictures. I was able to do it 3 years ago with the mayor, and then I was able to do it again this year, last week. And it's pretty incredible. And, it really drives home the things that the firefighters talk about all the time, about the need for staffing and the need for people on the rigs when they have a fire. And it is like very scary. They put us in the most simple scenarios. Like at the top left, I'm wearing the full SCBA, the self-contained breathing apparatus unit with the full turnout gear. It's hot, so it was 85 degrees that day. And we're going into a building with light smoke and no fire, obviously not hot from fire. And it is exhausting, loud, scary, and it's like the easiest scenario you could possibly be. And I don't know how they do it. It like literally blows my mind that, and then they can be waking up at 2 a.m. and then hop on a truck in a couple of minutes and then be at a fire, and then having to rescue someone. It's unbelievable. So we pulled the hose through buildings. We did like a rescue simulation with a dummy that weighed like a real human being, and then we also ripped apart a car with these incredible extraction tools that we have. And then there was a couple of Fitchburg firefighters there helping out that day, volunteering. And then the last thing we did was a EMT simulation. So that's the top right, and that's where they actually like have a dummy that has a pulse and like can simulate cardiac arrest. It is the craziest thing that I've ever seen. Really incredible, and really it does make it feel very realistic. And you actually go into like a fake ambulance and do this whole thing. So that was incredible. And I thank the fire union for putting it on, and all the volunteers that go into it. I know that they put a lot of time into it, but it definitely makes me feel really clear about the work that we have to do to support the department. And I know we face challenges, right? We want to provide more support in terms of staffing, and we just face the limits, the levy limits, and the referendum failed. But it's certainly a high priority for me, because it truly is heroic what they do. And then also I had a really insane experience the next day. So at the end of my EMT simulation, the paramedic was showing me this app called Pulse Point, which I put up there, which is an app that I downloaded apparently the last time I got CPR certified, but didn't remember I had it on my phone. But if you turn on your location to always on, it'll notify you if someone in the area needs CPR. You can say that you're ready to respond. And I just didn't have my location always on, so I set my location to always on right then and there. The next day at work, I got an alarm on my phone that I'd never heard before, and it was the app, and it was the business right next door to my office. So I ran over there, and there was somebody actively getting CPR, and I ended up not being needed. There were multiple people that were CPR certified there, and the fire department arrived like 3 minutes after I got there. Maybe probably less than that. It felt like 3 minutes, but it probably was like 30 seconds because it just feels like a long time. But I say this just because I felt like I had a really intense experience, and then I actually saw a real scenario, and it like I said, it's just unbelievable what these individuals go through. Like just seeing that in person one time was really intense emotionally for me personally. So I cannot imagine seeing it again and again and again, day after day, and like the mental toll that takes. That was another thing that they tried to drive home during Fire Ops 101 was just like the fact that the mental health support that first responders need to address the trauma that they experience on a regular basis. It's such a necessity, and we can always do more. But I also say it because if you are CPR certified and interested in responding, you can download that app and be around if anyone needs you. I'm glad that I had it on, and we have such a great high survival rate in Dane County for cardiac arrest. I think it's over 20%. Which is really, really high, and it's because people are CPR certified. We have AEDs, and apps like this where people that are CPR certified can be sent to the right place at the right time. So, yeah, just wanted to acknowledge that, and thanks to the fire union once again for the experience, and something that I'll be thinking on a lot.
Thank you. District 3.
It's really hard to follow that. So I won't even try. I have two quick updates. There is a UW initiative to end Alzheimer's pickleball tournament at McGaw Park on Saturday. Over 100 people expected to participate. It'll be an all-day event. Apparently Bucky Badger will be there. Excuse me. And then the other event is the next night market at the Rusty Bee. This is scheduled for June 18th.
Oh, June 18th. Okay.
I think I misspoke at a previous council meeting, but I believe it's June 18th from my notes.
Thank you. Donald, anything else?
I don't want to belabor a point, but Alderman Maldonado did an amazing job just talking about Michael and his legacy and kind of what he meant for not only Fitchburg, but the greater Madison-Dane County area. So condolences go out to his family in their time of mourning. The only other thing I wanted to do was there was an event that was hosted a couple of weeks ago at the Delta Beer Lab, and just wanted to give them a shout out as they're always just super hospitable, super professional, and accommodating for all types of things and events that we have there. So just wanted to give Pio and his crew a shout out and say thank you for the great service.
Thank you. 4.
I'll be quick. I just wanted to give a thanks to the Public Works Department so they sent out letters for the CIP projects for the next 5 years, and they took a request from myself and all the regs head to adjust the language for the sanitary sewer project in Irish Lane, just to make it clear to the residents that they wouldn't, what the timeline was expected to be, and that they're not required to hook up until this. And they actually went together and put together an entirely different letter for that CIP and sent it out so that it would be more clear. And I really appreciate the effort that went into that and the time it took. So I just wanted to thank them for that.
Thank you. Jake.
Yeah, I went to the Pride kickoff at Delta Beer Lab and in the parking lot, and it was super fun. And my daughter made it like an hour and 15 minutes before she had a meltdown, so that was good. And maybe contrary to my previous comments, I was very happy to be at the Pride flag raising, and thank you to the mayor for letting me speak. And then on Friday, I'm going to be at Wildwood Park from 9 to noon, helping with some weeding and planting. And if you go to the Friends of Fitchburg Parks website, you can volunteer and do it as well.
Yes, thank
Wildwood
you.
South, sorry.
And then I want to, because Dave sent me an email that, I'm sorry, I am up since 3 o'clock in the morning. Sharing that the Friends of the Park, they have an active website. So you can go and take a look, and also you can sign there for if you want to volunteer, okay? So I check it out, and it's a nice website. Okay, so then we are at the end. The other thing I want to mention that today I toured the police station. Yeah, it was a lot of mud because it was you, Chad, didn't want to come.
Nope. Exercise discretion there.
It was, yeah, but it's great to see. I was, in the first floor, second floor, and, it's coming along. According to the contractor, it's going to be done by the second week of April 27.
Coincidentally, to coincide with the contract.
Oh, really?
That's
okay.
That's the contract.
Okay.
Or is that going to coincide with Valentine's Day?
Yeah. Okay, okay, where were we? Announcement. Next Common Council meeting will be June 23rd. I encourage all the council members to attend the Finance Committee meeting on June 22nd for the CIP presentation. Next Committee of the whole meeting will be June 24th. So, and it's going to be the management plan from Ehlers, isn't it?
Yeah, the financial management plan that we do annually as in preparation for the CIP, and then also they will Ehlers will stay and do a presentation on TIDs, kind of a TID 101, and also an explanation of the new residential TID bill that just passed the state legislature recently.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor of adjourning the meeting at 9:34, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Buenas noches.